And then us two will be doing it in different spots. Of course.
The seats are filled here at Alumni Field, and we're about ready for the Sanford Mainers to come to town to take on the Keene SwampBats. Sanford coming into this one 6-10, Keene 15-4. As we welcome you into the press box here at Alumni Field, I'm Andrew Hillswood, alongside me Jackson Walsh. And Jackson, this is going to be a fun matchup. These teams have already played once, and it was a thriller out at Good Old Park in Sanford.
That was a great game. That was the Mainers' home opener, and this one's going to be fun too because the Mainers are playing with a little bit of rhythm right now. They've won 2 consecutive for the second time this year. They don't have a 3-game winning streak this season. They're playing good ball. The pitching's improved. The bats have really come alive, and Keene is the top dog in the North right now. It would be a great time for a Mainers win, especially on the road at a packed Alumni Field.
Yeah, you're right. It's going to be exciting to see how this pitching matchup. Both of these guys, you look at Ben Rabatin for the SwampBats and then Fredo Mucciaroni for the Mainers. Both guys a sub-2 ERA, lots of strikeouts for both of them, 10 and 11 in their 12 innings pitched. So this is a pitcher's duel that we might have on our hands here.
Yeah, Fredo's been the ace so far for the Mainers. He's been fantastic, but the big test today is going against the SwampBats lineup, who's been pretty good this season. His 2 starts have been against North Adams and North Shore, who sit at the basement of the North Division. So his biggest test and one of the team's biggest tests coming up tonight in Keene.
All right, we'll come back with the national anthem, and we'll be right back in just about 2 minutes. Mainers and SwampBats on coming your way right after this. Well, we're just about ready to get going here. National anthem coming soon as the SwampBats lineup is getting introduced. Like we mentioned, Ben Rabatin will be the starting pitcher. There's a look at Ty Manolfi, who's DHing today. And Jackson, this is going to be a really two of the well-built teams in this NECBL North Division. That's 6 teams. And Keene has a 5-game lead on the top of the division. But man, a lot of these teams are more deadly than their record would appear.
Yeah, the Mainers 6-10 record isn't indicative of how good of a team they have in the lineup going out there tonight. Everyone in the lineup tonight over the last 2 weeks has really picked it up, and when you combine that with your top starting pitcher so far in the mound, it's going to make for a great ball game.
All right, we're just about set. We're going to head to the national anthem. We'll be right back after that, and then you'll hear from our sideline reporter Ryan Fitzpatrick. But first, the national anthem. Almost time for Mainers and SwampBats.
Are you guys ready?
Draw your attention to the area behind home plate for the singing of the national anthem. This evening, being performed by the Keene Chorale.
All right, for the first time this evening, we're going to send it down to our sideline reporter, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan?
Yes, Andrew. Well, yesterday's win in that doubleheader was head coach Sean McKenna's 100th career win as a SwampBats coach. And I asked him today if he knew it after the game. He said, I didn't find out that was my 100th win until I went home and got a message later that night from my mother saying that it was my 100th win. This shows that head coach Big Mac, Sean McKenna, doesn't really care about the outside noise. He's very invested in his players and the team that surrounds him. And the wins are going to keep coming. Back to you, Andrew.
All right, thanks, Ryan. Yeah, head coach Sean McKenna, 100 total wins for the SwampBats, as there's our ceremonial first pitch, but not by a human, but by a pig today. There's a petting zoo from a animal sanctuary around the area. So Savings Bank of Walpole, their 150th anniversary. That's what Alumni Field is celebrating today. There's a ton of bounce houses, fun activities, all that jazz, and packed stands as far as the eye can see here at Alumni Field. But I think my favorite part is definitely the pig.
It's pretty cool to see. First time I've seen an animal on the field for a first pitch.
A goat there as well. Of course, there's Ribby, his largest bat in the world. All right, let's get into baseball, shall we, Jackson?
Let's do it.
SwampBats come into this game 15-4. They had a series split against the Ocean State Waves in two 7-inning games at a doubleheader yesterday. And there's a look at Ben Rabatin, the starting pitcher for the SwampBats. In his 3 games started this year, 12 innings pitched, 7 walks, 10 strikeouts for an even 1.5 ERA. And he will be caught by TJ Schuyler behind the plate today. And then around the SwampBats defense, there's plenty stuff to talk about as well. The defensive alignment looks like this. Xavier Perez is in left field, followed by Michael O'Brien, the center fielder, who played most of the time here at left, but he's in center today. Jack Herring, the ECU man, in right. Then around the horn, it's Romano, Bell, Ripken Reese, Chandler Tupou behind the plate, TJ Schuyler, and then Ben Rabatin is the pitcher. Jackson, let's have a look at Sanford's batting lineup. What do you notice?
His usual leadoff spot, it's Trey King. He gets a start at short. Brendan Sensai, after his first off day in a while, is back in the lineup. He bats second and plays first in the 3-hole. The DH, Blake Schaff out of Wake Forest. Batting cleanup, Jack Toomey, the center fielder. Kellen Strohmeyer's in right. He bats fifth. Luke Jenkins is in left field. He bats sixth. Batting seventh and doing the catching, Cole McGinnis. Batting eighth, back in the lineup for the first time in a while, Ryder Kirtley at second base. And batting ninth, the third baseman is Brian Connolly.
So Ben Rabatin will focus himself in. A beautiful night here in Keene, New Hampshire. 74 degrees, partly cloudy, and not a ton of wind. So we are through the heat wave from earlier in the week, and we're ready for first pitch between the Mainers and the SwampBats. As Rabatin winds and deals, here we go. As that's a foul tip, and we start with a Ben Rabatin strike at the low 90s. Rabatin, a guy who is no stranger to throwing pretty hard, but he's got a solid leadoff hitter to deal with in Trey King.
King was 1 for 5 last time out at Bristol. What's great about King is just how fundamental and solid of a player he is. He's going to put the ball in play a lot, not going to go down swinging a bunch, so he's a tough out at the plate, especially from the left side.
There's ball 2 as balls and strikes are being called by Robert Strempick today. Alan Liberdoni is the third base umpire, and Robert McHugh will be making the calls for the umpiring crew at first. 2-1 on the way as we're here at Alumni Field. Rabatin shakes off Schuyler a couple of times. Now he'll wind and deal. Off speed, or rather a fastball right by the swinging barrel of Trey King. 91 miles an hour, and it's 2-2.
You want to approach up here if you're Trey King. Already down to 2 strikes. You don't want that pitcher to get comfortable early on. You want to make him work.
Here's the 2-2 from Rabatin. Foul tip, he stays alive.
That's exactly what he does there. Rabatin went to the fastball upstairs, but King has really quick hands in there. He's able to get his hands to it, even though it was up in the zone, to stay alive.
As a leadoff batter this year, Trey King hitting .375. He's in 16 ABs. 2-2 on its way again. That's high and outside. As a leadoff, you were a pitcher for Sanford last year, Jackson, and when you're starting off a game or starting off an inning, how frustrating can it be if the first batter you face is just fouling off pitches left and right?
It can really change the inning because you know he's going to be a tone setter in there in the box, but retiring that first guy is the best feeling in the world.
And that's what Rabatin's feeling right now as he fans Trey King, 1 away in the top of the first at Alumni Field. The first strikeout of the day for Ben Rabatin.
And when you get your first out via the strikeout, that's a really good feeling on the mound, especially with a guy like King. But we got some good bats in the Mainers lineup coming up, 2 through 4, probably the 3 best bats that Sanford has.
Brendan Sensai, the first baseman, who's listed as an outfielder, but he'll be playing first today. He was 1 for 5 in the Mainers' last game as there's strike 1 at the knees. Sanford has had a really phenomenal come around since their 0 for 5 start. Struggled a little bit at home, but on the road, like we talked about this before we started, their best pitchers have ended up playing on the road, and it's really helped them.
Yeah, this is the 3rd start for Mujeroni tonight on the mound. He's only pitched on the road. He's used to it, and then winning 2 out of 3 to end that Connecticut trip with kind of a gritty win at Mystic, even though it was by 7 runs, and then a great extra innings game at Bristol. Just some great momentum from Sanford.
0-2, a foul tip. As TJ Schuyler will get a new baseball and toss it back to Ben Rabatin. SwampBats wearing their weekend home game uniforms, what some people have dubbed as the SpongeBob uniforms. The yellow and purple, nice little alternate with the purple and black billed hats. 0-2. With one away, Rabatin deals. Called strike 3 on the outside corner.
It was a good 0-2 breaker from Rabatin. I thought it was a decent take from Sensei. It looked like it might have been a tick off, but that's where in the first inning you're going to start getting a feel of the umpire's strike zone. Everybody's different, especially here in the league, but that's still a good 0-2 pitch. If you're going to keep it around the zone, you're going to get called strikes.
And a good slider from Rabatin that came in at 2,700 RPM. This brings up Blake Schaff, who's had a 1 for 5 day, 11 for 31 on the season with 5 runs batted in. A swinging bunt that goes foul.
It's been fantastic for Sanford. A second-year Mainer, so Alumni Field is a park he's used to. Comes in with an 8-game hit streak.
And one of the top batting averages in the league. Marshall Lipsy is the leader in the NECBL, but he's on a couple of rest days right now. There's a fastball that's low from Rabatin. A splitter. Rabatin, a guy who plays his college ball at Kent State, and saw some bubbles floating across the camera there. I don't know if that's because I mentioned SpongeBob earlier or whatever happened there, but that was something.
Got a lot of different things going on.
There are a lot of things. You see a little train car that you like find at Disney in the background there. It's a very interesting night, and free admission for fans, which you can definitely tell. It's packed out house. 2-1 is a strike.
The bat
3 from Rabatin.
He's doing a good job of commanding both sides of the plate right now. You saw the breaker away to Sensei, then comes back with a fastball arm side, and he's in another 2-strike count. He's pounding the strike zone right now, and that's really important as a pitcher, especially in the early innings, to keep that pitch count down going forward.
16th pitch of the outing on the way. The deuce is wild for Rabatin. Low, and he checked his swing. Good hands from Schaff.
It's a really good take. He's a guy that's been seeing the ball terrific, and that was just down, it looked like.
Yep.
But
fantastic take. Started the hands. It can be hard to just let him fly through. So we'll try again. 3-2 with 2 away. Appeal to third, and Alan Liberdoni says he did not go around. A 2-out walk for Blake Schaff. That brings up the 4-hole hitter Jack Toomey.
that's why Schaff has been in the lineup night in, night out recently, and especially batting third tonight, because he just sees the strike zone so well. Saw 2 check swings there on really good pitches, but he's able to hold up. That's a sign of a guy that just has total confidence at the plate, and he's doing it with average and on-base percentage.
So this brings Jack Toomey to the plate, who was 0 for 2 in his last game, or 0 for 3, I should say, with 2 walks. Leadoff on first is Schaff. He's 3 for 3 on stolen base attempts. There's a first pitch swinging strike to Toomey.
That 0-4 last time out against Bristol ended an 8-game hit streak that Toomey was on. He has really picked up with the bat. Had a homer on the Connecticut trip, a 3-run shot in the first inning at Mystic. Little pop.
0-1. Righty-righty matchup. That one's just high. Yeah, Toomey's first 2 years he spent at Holy Cross, an everyday starter for Boston College in 2025, and was 5th in batting average. He hit .261 for BC.
He was a huge part for the Eagles this year, especially in the ACC tournament. They won a couple games, made some noise before losing to North Carolina.
The 1-1, a strike. A breaking ball that's high in the zone and right on the corner. So 1-2 with 2 away. Rabatin looking to be efficient. Just eclipsed the 20 pitch mark in the first inning. And the 1-2. Called, strike 3, down he goes. Rabatin, 3 strikeouts and a single walk in the first inning. Due up for the SwampBats, it's O'Brien, Herring, and Perez when we come back. 0-0 after the first half inning on a beautiful Saturday night in Keene, New Hampshire.
turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. The memories spark to motivate and make the industry shake. We put the bars in the place. I'm talking one chance at best, yes. Painting pictures for the culture, keep the brushes fresh. Flip the cover, work the drummer, passion never rests. Freedom is a teacher under pressure, now we blessed. Yeah, it's one all, one shot, now the future is yours. Let's go.
All right, we're through a half inning, and Michael O'Brien, Jack Herring, and Xavier Perez, all three outfielders for the SwampBats, are due up 1-2-3, and they'll face Fredo Mucciaroni. Jackson, what can you tell us about him?
Fredo has been the ace for the Mainers so far, making his third start. 6 innings apiece in both of his starts. June 11th at North Shore, 6 innings, no runs, and then 6 innings, 1 run at North Adams last Friday, the 20th. That 1 earned run was a solo shot, but he has been so good for Sanford this year in those 12 innings, 11 strikeouts, 2 walks, 8 hits. Just really good stuff out of the ace of this team right now.
And we'll take a look at the defensive alignment for the Sanford Mainers. Anything stick out to you here?
Pretty normal stuff going on. Ryder Kirtley back in the lineup. He's at second. Just had about a week off visiting some schools. Just committed from Virginia Tech to Miami, Ohio in the portal. Brennan Sensei gets his second start of the summer at first base, usually in center field. And I talked to him about that. He has that interesting combo of playing center field or first, but he was used to doing it at school, so Nick Lops has him doing it here in the summer.
And here's the SwampBats starting lineup. O'Brien, the center fielder, he'll lead off. The SwampBats hitting .252, which is good enough for 4th in the league. Jack Herring hits second. He's playing right. Xavier Perez in the 3-hole. He's been one of the best hitters in his few games here. Ripken Reese slots into the 4 slot. Then Chandler Tupou, Timon Olfey, Nick Romano, TJ Schuyler, and Andrew Bell rounded out. First pitch swinging and past the barrel of Michael O'Brien for a strike.
O'Brien was a big part of Keene's win at Sanford back on June 12th.
Yes,
3 hits in that ball game, a couple of doubles too.
That's second pitch is low. O'Brien's slowed down a little bit after a rocket start to 2025. He's 4 for 17 at the plate in his last 5 games. 1-1. Hit pretty well. Down left field, back it goes, and it'll go foul. But hit well, had the distance. And just curved foul a little late on it. Came off the bat at 81, so just kind of curved all towards foul territory. 1-2, swing and a miss, strike 3.
Just a disgusting changeup
nice.
for Mucciaroni.
Yeah,
and that's why he's been so successful this summer. His slider and changeup have been on every single time he steps on the mound. And when you're throwing a changeup to a lefty as a righty pitcher with that kind of drop on it, it's near impossible to put a bat on it.
Well, the switch hitter Jack Herring will step in. He was hitting .216, but a lot of hard hit balls for him thus far in 2025. Nothing. Fresh count to him is high. Herring 7 RBIs, a home run. East Carolina man. Originally from, this one's hit very well. Back to center field, in the gap. That'll one hop off the wall. Herring rounds second, or he rounds first, heads for second, and he's in with a stand-up double with 1 away in the bottom of the first.
It's just a perfect piece of hitting from Herring. Sat back on it and just drove it opposite field into the left center gap. That's the kind of thing that you'll show in a clinic on video, a piece of hitting like that. Just great stuff. And now you got a man on scoring position in the first inning against a guy in Mucciaroni who hasn't had to throw against a lot of adversity this year, so this will be a big test for him in the first inning.
Very well hit ball, and credit to Toomey, who had some good speed getting to that ball and keeping Herring at second. It's very hard to leg out triples in this ballpark just based on the dimensions, but a stand-up double is really as good as you can get without sending it out. Xavier Perez swings at the first pitch, and that goes into the swamp. That's foul.
I think I saw 1 triple here last year, and it was C.J. Willis for the Mainers. In the 7th or 8th inning, a triple shy of the cycle, and he hit it perfectly down the right field line, and he's not the fastest guy. He's kind of a big boy, but legged it out. The place went crazy.
For the cycle, wow. 0-1 to Perez. That's off the outside. Yeah, there's only been 2 triples hit by SwampBats this year. Both have been by Michael O'Brien. Xavier Perez, 10 for 29 on the year with a homer and 5 RBIs. 0 for 3 in Game 2 of the doubleheader against Ocean State yesterday. 1-1 is at the eyes and high. Perez, just a compact swing. And you look at what he did as a redshirt freshman at Houston this past year and led the team in average, homers, and RBIs. Triple crown for the Cougars. 2-1 on the way. Breaking ball outside. Now 3-1.
You could tell as soon as Fredo released that, didn't have full faith in that slider. Might have just not had a good grip out of the hands. He didn't really get down and through it. He kind of stayed back on it. But this is dangerous right here with the three-hitter. Perez is really good. You don't want to leave him a fastball middle.
3-1, one away. And he left a fastball, hit well out to right field. It is gone! A no-doubt two-run homer for Xavier Perez, his second on the year. And the Bats lead by 2 in the first.
It's exactly what I might have saw coming. Perez is just too good of a bat to get beat by a fastball, especially in a hitter's count. And that was hit really well out to right center. That got on top of the roof easily. That's backside, too.
Opposite field homer for the righty batter, off the barrel at 100 miles an hour, total distance 365 feet. And look at this, he flipped the bat, he knew it. That was a no-doubter and all the way onto that roof of that red barn in right. So some fireworks early, even though there won't be a fireworks show until the next time you guys come to this ballpark on Thursday.
Should be another packed house.
Oh, it will be, yeah. Sanford's getting the full SwampBats experience here.
Yeah, 2 times in a week, and
I mean, look at this crowd.
I haven't been here
Isn't
in
it great?
a whole month. It's fantastic.
Awesome.
One of the best environments in the league.
It's just fun. And all the other activities, especially this area down in right field, that's probably my favorite. Just to see kids throwing the ball and bothering the guys in the dugout, getting their baseballs signed. Some kids get their gloves signed. It just brings a smile to your face when you come to the ballpark.
It's just one of truly the most special places in the New England League. It's a great atmosphere every night. The organization runs it well with different activities like tonight, a lot going on. And
very community focused.
Exactly. Back on the field here, I like that visit from
Smart.
McGinnis.
Resets him, and
2 of the hardest hit balls that Mucciaroni's let up this summer, and he goes 2-0 to the 4-hole hitter Reese. You don't want to make another mistake here, so go settle him down, talk to him, and try to rebound.
That one misses. It's 3-0 to Ripken Reese, who's been on a heater at the plate recently. Last couple of weeks, he's had his first 3 homers. He homered in the first game against Ocean State, that loss yesterday. 3-0 is there for a strike, high end of the zone, but called. 2-0 game after Xavier Perez blasted his second homer of the year out to right field. 3-1, low for ball 4, and still only 1 away.
That's not the worst miss in the world, 3-1, because Reese already has those 3 homers.
Yep.
Keene already has 1 this inning. Put a guy on, you're just 1 pitch away from getting out of this with a double play. You got a good middle infield and third baseman and Connolly out there. Try to get Tupou to roll over on something and get out of this inning with only 2 runs allowed. And
Tupou, not a guy who strikes out a lot. Some of the lowest strikeout numbers of the team. Is a great approach at the plate. Fun guy to watch take an AB. Fouls off the first pitch.
You're looking for a double play here too. Something middle away on a changeup. That could get the left-handed hitting Tupou out in front and try to get you out of this inning.
He's grounded into 1 double play this year. Man from Charleston Southern, a lefty first baseman. As there goes Ripken Reese. Throw to second. Reese is safe, a stolen bag.
That's how
Great jump.
That's how you eliminate the double play threat with just pure speed and a fantastic jump, as you said, Andrew. Now you got another guy in scoring position with just more good bats in the lineup up for Keene, because when you're 15-4, most of the time the guys you're throwing out there in the lineup have pure capability to get it done.
Yep. Ripken Reese's 4th stolen base in as many attempts here in 2025. A true utility guy. There's not really a part of his game that lacks. 1-1 fouled towards our way. We've had 1 ball hit the press box this year, and it didn't exactly hit the netting up here, but it definitely gave us a shock. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, but I came into the season like, you don't need the netting up here, and now my mind has been fully changed.
Yeah, I'd be a little uncomfortable out the netting. We're pretty close to the plate.
Yeah, we are. My reactions are good. They're not that good. Swing and a miss. Tupou goes down on strikes. Very good sequence from the pitcher, Mucciaroni.
Fantastic response from Fredo. Up and inside. Hasn't gone there tonight, but he's a little frustrated with himself on the mound because he hasn't run into trouble. Just that 1 run in North Adams on a solo shot. Sanford ended up winning that game, but down 2-0 to the top team in the league. So it'd be big for him to bounce back going forward.
There's Timon Olfe, scoring position with 2 outs. He's been a solid hitter as he tips the first pitch foul. His 2 RBIs in 6 at-bats in this sort of situation coming into this game. And Timon Olfe has been just one of the most resurgent hitters. 4 multi-hit games. He had a 3-run double in the win last night. He's just been a guy that has come back in the lineup, and he's going to lace one right field again. Ripken Reese will get the green light to go home. Throw to the plate, not in time. Bats lead 3-0.
Another great piece of hitting, and thought off the bat we were going to have a play at the plate, but Strohmeyer was playing really deep out in right field. Probably the deepest I've seen somebody camp out there. So off the bat, when you see something hit that hard, you're like, oh, we're going to have a play at the plate here. But then I looked up and Strohmeyer is out there near the wall. So with the speed of Reese, really no shot.
Yep. So 3-0, an offensive prowess and explosion right here, right now for the SwampBats as Manolfi drives in his 12th run of the season. Ties him with the team lead, ties him for the team lead with Nick Romano, who is, incidentally enough, up to the plate right now. The everyday third baseman played 1 game at shortstop in the season opener, and then a couple of games at shortstop at the start, and then roster started to fill in. There goes Manolfi on the 0-1, broken bat down the right side, and they'll take out number 3 at first as Sensei makes the play. Not before the Bats plate 3 on a no-doubt shot from Xavier Perez and an RBI single from Timon Olfe. Bats lead 3-0 when we go to the top of the second here from Keene, New Hampshire.
An SBW passbook with the nonprofits. Please turn that in at the SBW tent. If you have a passbook still on your person, hand it in to the SBW tent.
And it's looking to the time, ladies and gentlemen. For SwampBats, holding camp champion, Richardson. Located in Swansea, just south of Keene. Family owned and operated for 75 years, carrying dolls and furniture for every room of your home. Lucky ticket number, 760-659. 760-659. And your quick swap chart, picture holding camp chair, 760-659.
5, 6, 7 due up. Strohmeyer, Jenkins, and McGinnis for the Sanford Mainers as they look to respond after a really solid first inning from that man, Xavier Perez, who blasted his 2nd home run of the year, and the pitcher on the mound, Ben Rabatin. What did you notice? As I'm gonna keep going back to this because I think it's great insight. As a pitcher, what was working from your eye up here for Rabatin in that first inning?
The biggest thing, and I've said this pretty much every single broadcast this year, is filling up the zone and attacking hitters. You walked 1 man, but it was a full count battle with Schaff, who took some borderline pitches. You can't really put your head down and get upset with yourself for that. He's attacking hitters and just working his breaking ball off his fastball well. And when guys are swinging wood bats and they haven't faced you before, you're going to have success on the mound.
Yep. So Kellen Strohmeyer, the right fielder, with a pretty unique batting stance. He's an Iowa man as he waves at the first pitch. I had it in my notes, but I was able to, deduce it. One by the helmet, but also on all the stickers on the back.
An Iowa boy, plays at Iowa, and
he's from Iowa as well, yeah?
One of the best bats in the Mainers lineup this last week. And it's interesting, with that open stance, you'd think he's a heavy pull side hitter, but actually does all his damage opposite field. He just had his best game of the season at Bristol. 3 hits, a double in the 10th. Helped the Mainers win it in extras, a win that Sanford really needed, a statement win for this summer.
Feels like with Keene, there's been a couple of statement wins.
It helps when they got 15 of them.
Well, right, but just, games that they make comebacks in, and you would think based on, if you look at the box score in the middle of the game, there's no way they come back in this game. And they find ways to win games that some people think, hey, they don't have any business winning. So it's been the cardiac bats, some would say. 3-1 is high and inside as Strohmeyer draws a walk. Just
like Blake Schaff, Kellen's been seeing the ball really well, and he's been a monster at the plate. Got his average up in the mid-200s now. 3 hits, 3 RBIs at Bristol last time out. 6 for his last 13. He hasn't been swinging and missing much. He's getting on base, working walks, finding barrels. Been fantastic.
This is Luke Jenkins, who is from UNC Greensboro, North Carolina, and made 37 starts for that team this past summer, and not too shabby, 261 with 20 RBIs.
He's another great lefty bat. This is just his second start for the Mainers since June 16th. He was dealing with some hamstring issues, but was back out there in left field against Bristol and gets the start in left tonight.
That pitch high from Rabatin. It's 2-0 as Strohmeyer takes a lead off of first, and he's 3 for 4. He's been caught once, and Stephen Bangs is going to come out with TJ Schuyler to have a chat with Ben Rabatin, just to settle him down.
There's a 5-pitch walk to Strohmeyer now. 2-0 on Jenkins. You have that 3-run buffer. You don't want to have Sanford kind of scratch back into it early on, even if it's just a run or two. You want to limit it right now. And that's a situation where it's so early where Bangs and the staff in the dugout may have noticed something different this inning and want to go out there and stop it before it gets worse.
Right. And they'll retreat to their position. Stephen Bangs led the Bats in appearances on the mound last year. It's his first year as a coach for the SwampBats. 2-0, and Rabatin approaching 30 pitches in his fourth start of the season. The 2-0 from the stretch. There's a foul tip back. Nice challenge pitch from Rabatin, like you mentioned, going right back at him in the middle of the zone and saying, hey, come hit it.
Yeah, it looked great right there. That's the response you need down 2-0. Challenge the hitters. That's when hitters are going to know you're ready to go, is when you're challenging them with your best stuff.
2-1 on its way. Rabatin checks on the runner at first. And Strohmeyer will take his secondary lead. Another foul tip, 2-2. So putting together a good at-bat is Luke Jenkins with his teammate on first in Strohmeyer, who is a threat to steal, but maybe as much as some other guys in this lineup.
Not a guy with plus speed, but he's a good base runner.
That's
There's
right.
a difference
Intelligent. 2-2 pickoff attempt. Nothing really doing.
Has a good feel for pitchers on the mound, and the longer an at-bat goes on, when you're on base, you have more time to time up the pitcher, try to get a sense of his rhythms and his holds before he goes to the plate. Makes it easier to run.
And there he goes. This one's laced right to Herring, and they're going to double him up because Herring didn't really have to move. And Tupou's just going to pick it up and step on first. A double play. Now there's 2 away in the second.
If there was a category in the box score for assists on double plays, that would go to the shortstop, Bell.
Yeah.
He completely deked Strohmeyer. Strohmeyer was taking off, heard the crack of the bat, and he thought they were turning a double play, so he kept on going. But fantastic job by Bell. You saw Derek Jeter do that a lot back in the day. And
he moved to field a ground ball, essentially.
So he actually was acting like he was ready to get the throw from first or second base and ready to turn it to first. But that's just a master class of defensive play. And he knows he got him out there, too. And it's one of those where it's pretty fun because you don't always get the chance to have it work out, but it worked out perfectly.
So there's 2 away in an interesting double play. A 9-3 putout, and Strohmeyer just kind of accepted his fate. He stood on second and was like, you know what? You guys got me this time. McGinnis, the catcher, now dealing with a 1-2 count. Nice changeup from Rabatin, and that's in for strike 2. So after walking the first batter, now Rabatin has a chance to send him down 1-2-3. 1-2. And swing and a miss, strike 3. Rabatin now with 4 Ks on the day, and the Mainers have been held pretty quiet thus far. 3-0 Bats lead. We head to the home half of the second inning at Alumni Field.
At M&T Bank, we believe in the power of together. Together, we can help your business grow. Together, we can move communities forward while giving back. Together, we can help your family spend more time on what matters most. And together, we can achieve more than ever before.
Little overcast skies. We're hoping any rain stays away, but the Bats are raining in runs right now. 3-0, and we're only through one half inning for the SwampBats offense. Due up is Skyler, Andrew Bell, and then the top of the order, and Michael O'Brien. And Mucciarone looking to put together a better inning than he did last time.
That was just a clinic that Keene put up offensively.
Yep.
All three of those hits were just right on the line. You had the backside double to left center, then the homer to right center, and then just a pure piece of hitting, pull side line drive to right to get in the third run. That's just what a coach dreams about in his offense. Great approaches, fantastic piece of hitting, and that's why you get a 3-0 lead, a little momentum here with the crowd at home.
Sometimes, especially in the game yesterday, the first game against Ocean State, Keene wasn't able to put on more than 2 base runners for the first 3 innings of the game, and then Ripken Reese hit a 2-run shot. But it was a 5th inning RBI ground out from Ocean State's right fielder Ryan Garrity last night that decided that first game. And it's been a bit of a theme throughout the year. Keene's, when they get hot early, they're in a good position, but when they have to fight back late, sometimes it's a struggle, as TJ Schuyler looks at a breaking ball that's low for ball 1.
Baseball's a game of ebbs and flows,
Yep.
and really unpredictable most of the time.
All of the time, I would say. There's a strike to Schuyler. Schuyler's defense has really wowed a lot of people throughout this summer. 1-1 foul tip. He has one of the strongest arms behind the plate that I've seen. He's a pitcher in high school, so the arm strength is there. And the 1-2. Called strike 3, and down goes Schuyler. Nice pitch from Mucciarone for the first strikeout of the inning.
It's a fantastic pitch, just fastball dotted on the outer black, just froze Schuyler. We've already seen it called there tonight, so the umpire is consistent with his own. That's what players want.
Yep.
You can call it a ball off on each side, a ball up, a ball down, as long as you're consistent.
Right, if
that's
it's
all
not
that matters.
perfect to what the box is, but when it starts changing, that's the things that especially hitters aren't really a fan of. So Andrew Bell grounds this one to the third base side. It'll get through the gap for a 1-out single from the man from Duke. Andrew Bell is on for the first time today.
That's what Mucciarone wanted in that pitch. First pitch breaking ball, and Bell rolled it over into that 5-6 hole, but just perfectly placed where nobody was. And sometimes you're going to get hits like that. They aren't always squared up, but go down as a hit, and you got another base runner on as you turn over the order, and we're already in the second.
Michael O'Brien to the plate now, who struck out to start this game in the first. He squares to bunt. A great bunt sidearm throw, safe. Great speed from the leadoff hitter O'Brien off of a nice throw from Cole McGinnis, but just beat the throw by about a step. Did Michael O'Brien, so everybody's safe around the diamond. Let's have a look at it.
There's not much else you can do there. A perfectly placed bunt, and bang, bang at first.
Yeah.
And it does look like O'Brien just got in there,
left
so
foot.
good call.
Yep.
And you can't do anything else when a perfectly placed bunt is laid down by the leadoff man like
Yeah.
that. McGinnis jumped out immediately, made a great sidearm throw before he even got to set his feet. Just a perfect bunt.
This brings up Jack Herring, who had a double his first time to the plate. That one in the dirt, ball 1. And with Herring, hard hit balls, he's got a great swing, a lot of lower body power, and is able to put a charge into one. He's only hit 1 homer this year, looking to change that. Here's the 1-0. Breaking ball that's there. Maybe sitting fastball, and that one just catches that inside corner. It's tough to get to.
Especially from a righty arm working its way inside on a lefty.
Good check from Herring. Appeal, maybe no appeal, I guess. Didn't look from here like he went around. So it's 2-1.
The dugout wanted one.
They wanted, but there's nobody down the third base line. That's the thing.
McGinnis ended up checking out to second, but home plate umpire Robert Strempick just didn't give him it.
Right. Swinging bunt. It's 2-2. Are you able to appeal to third, even if they're with a 3-umpire system? There's no umpire down there.
You can still check to second,
check it?
but
okay.
obviously the umpire's not going to have as good as a view,
right.
But you're still allowed to check it, and that umpire now positioned at second can make that call.
2-2, like a splitter, or some sort of changeup is in the dirt. 3-2 now.
Yeah, it's Mucciaroni's changeup.
Yep. So runners on first and second, 3-2 count, one away. Switch hitter at the plate in Herring. Mucciaroni winds and deals. That one's a chopper towards the shortstop. King out at second, and
interference.
Interference, yep, double play. As O'Brien got in the way of Kirtley, who was trying to make the throw, and that will end the inning in unceremonious fashion. But we are through 1.5. Or we're through 2, excuse me. Top of the third coming up. Mainers 8-9-1 to the plate.
How's everybody feeling tonight? I said, how's everybody feeling tonight? Thank you very much for coming to SBW's 150th anniversary. We have 5 incredible hula hoopers with us tonight. We have some new faces. We have some baseball buddies. We have some campers. We even have a Batgirl. Give it up for them. You guys know the rules. Whoever can hula hoop the longest is the winner. We got some good prizes tonight, just saying. When you guys are ready, 3, 2, 1, go! Unbelievable performance thus far. It may never end. 1 down, 2 down, 3 down, final 2. Who's it gonna be? Oh, that girl! I think we have a stalemate. Here's our 2 winners. Let's give it up for them.
Well, we just missed the hula hoop contest. I'm not sure what was going on there, but kids were having fun. And Jackson, I think if I were to try to do that, I would either hurt myself or just be really bad at it. So I'm glad I'm up here with you and not down there trying that.
I wasn't a big hula hooper back in the day either. So
Could never figure it out.
I'm content with being up here as well.
Yeah.
Probably would have been too nervous growing up to
in
go
front of
on
all
the field
these
in front of
people?
thousands.
There's no way. No way. So Rabatin has been successful thus far and has 2 walks but 4 strikeouts to his name. He's been even in the walks and strikeouts thus far in the year, but putting together a pretty solid outing thus far as that one sails past Skyler. Ball 1. Second offering from Rabatin is there for a strike. Looks like it's that same outside spot against a righty batter, at least from up here is what it looks like. Rabatin looks at his feet, winds and deals. There's a fastball, that's a strike. Rabatin, an interesting windup, but has the speed. That one at 93. We've seen him touch 94. But he looks down at his feet and then focuses back in.
It is interesting, but...
And it seems to work as there's an off-speed pitch, pulls the string on Kirtley in strike number 3. That's 5 on the day now for Rabatin.
That's a great job of setting up your pitches on that the 1 strike that ended up being the second strike was a low 90s fastball that's right at Kirtley's knees, a tough pitch to hit, and then comes back with a slider that starts on that same plane and then just falls completely out of the strike zone. Excellent job on the mound. That is called pitching. A lot of guys are throwers nowadays, but Rabatin is a true pitcher.
It's the idea of pitch tunneling, right?
Exactly.
There's a first pitch strike to the 9-hole hitter, Brian Connolly, who is 4 for 25 in his couple of appearances. He's only played 6 games, made 25 ABs. 0-1 to him, that's low.
And the sign that Rabatin's a really good pitcher, too. On that 2-strike pitch to Kirtley, he throws that slider low and away for a ball that looks like a strike to start, and then comes back, first pitch to Connolly, just drops the slider in for a strike. He can place it for a strike and for a ball.
1-1, that one's in the dirt, and a good job by Connolly to keep the hands back.
That's that same slider where Rabatin's trying to throw that for a ball, just got out in front of it a little too much, just spiked
Spin rate really high, too. 2640. We've seen him get up to 2700.
It's terrific break.
It's spinning. 2-1. Fastball. Off the tip of Skylar's glove. Runs it to 2-2. And just a great crowd. Lots of activities behind us. There was saw it earlier. There was a pig on the field. There was a goat on the field. They have since been removed. They were on leashes, which is usually good. 2-2 on the way. Swing and a miss on that slider. And around the horn goes Skylar. 6 strikeouts. Now for Rabatin and 2 here in the third.
That's a plus slider from Rabatin. Just getting swings that aren't even close to making contact. And that's when you know you're throwing it good if hitters at this level are way out in front of it and aren't picking it up.
The NECBL, you're going to find some good hitters in this league. And Rabatin is just toying with them at the moment. 6 strikeouts to only 2 walks. And he'll face the leadoff batter. Heads up down there. All right, everybody's fine. We have seen somebody get drilled over there. They were okay, but I always get a little nervous when balls go racing down there. But I think everybody has learned their lesson. Hey, you got to watch out if you're going to go down there.
Yeah, great park, but a lot of unprotected space down both of the lines.
The kids will learn.
Exactly.
They'll learn the hard way. 1-1 now to the leadoff man, Trey King, who struck out. Who's the first strikeout victim of the day for the Mainers, who, I got to tell you, this is one of my favorite road uniforms in the league. Had two good uniforms in back-to-back nights. Ocean State's road uniforms are really nice.
Is that the powder blue on the road for them?
No,
or
so they wore the navies yesterday, but most people had white pants because I guess they had a lot of guys who forgot their jerseys. So it was kind of musical chairs with jerseys. So we were very confused up here, but it was all fun. 1-2 on the way, outside.
Nothing beats that Mainers green with the yellow accent.
It's pretty sweet, man. They all got the helmets that I initially thought when Keene played at Sanford a couple of weeks ago, I thought they were like, how many Michigan State guys can be on one team? But then I looked a little closer. High fly ball, right center field, racing after it is herring at the wall, and a jumping attempt. And that'll go over the wall for a home run. O'Brien sold out for it, but it's a solo shot with 2 away for Trey King, and it's a 3-1 ball game. That was close.
First one of the summer for Trey King, a good piece out to right center. The only part that ball's going to get out in that spot, but you got to play to where you are, and
that's right.
That's great for Sanford. You get that momentum back last inning when Keene was threatening, and then with 2 outs here, you're able to get a run back. 2-out runs are the best runs for a ball club. Almost had a fantastic catch.
That was close.
From O'Brien out
I
there
couldn't see. But that's Rabatin's first homer that he's allowed this year, and he comes back at Brendan Sensai. So it's 3-1 is the score. We said we were maybe in for a pitcher's duel, but maybe we'll have a high-scoring contest. 1-0 is in the dirt, ball 2.
If you're Rabatin, if you're giving up 1 hit and it's a solo shot, that's
not going to kill you. Right.
Solo homers won't hurt you in the game of baseball if they're spaced out and not often.
Yep. Those big chunk plays when guys start getting on. There's a 3-0 now to Sensai.
That's not what you want to do after letting up the home run. There's no saying you got to put the nail in the coffin. You got 2 outs after back-to-back Ks. You let up the homer. Now you're down 3-0. You don't want to let this inning compile.
3-0. Fastball is high. Be a 4-pitch walk to Sensai. That brings up Blake Schaff.
Doesn't sound like Sean McKenna was really happy with that ball call. Thought that might have clipped the top of the zone, but
just, it's tough to see from up here for sure. So 1 on with 2 away. And Rabatin has to come back at Schaff, who he walked in the first. Schaff 11 for 31, rather, still 11 for 31 on the year. First pitch, a strike.
Schaff just committed to Wake Forest not too long ago
after good for him.
A really good year at Georgetown. Hit 344 for the Hoyas.
Yeah, I'd say that's not too bad. Not too bad.
Swinging it well this summer, too. We showed the stats earlier in the first.
Originally from Oakland, so how much do you think he likes wearing this uniform that is sort of like the Oakland Athletics?
Yeah,
Have you talked to him about it?
He grew up a Giants fan.
Really?
So,
okay.
Not a big Oakland guy. The other Bay Area team was where he was hanging out at Oracle Park.
Yep. Great ballpark. You been there?
I haven't.
That's a bucket list one for me.
as well. I love just
So
watching
cool.
games there.
Yep. 1-1. That's low and away. So Rabatin still has some work to do to get out of this one. He's already allowed one on that solo shot, but like you mentioned, it's just kind of a chip shot, and Sanford back in the game. It's a 2-run game. And the 2-1 on its way. There's a strike. Great comeback pitch from Rabatin on the slider. Runs it to 2-2 with 2 away.
Yeah, really good pitch on the outer half, and you want to limit here. Let up the homer after 2 walks. You walked Sensei on 4 pitches. Then you got probably the best bat in the Mainers lineup right now at the plate on a short park, and he's a lefty bat too. You got to be careful.
2-2. Foul tip, and Skyler couldn't hang on to it, so he stays alive for at least another pitch. Really good at bat here.
That's what he does. Schaff is good at that. We saw it in the first inning.
We did.
Put up a 3-2
drew that
battle.
walk, yeah.
Worked a walk.
Yep.
Only guy to not strike out in the first inning that came to the plate for Sanford.
Rabatin focuses back in. Another 2-2. 6th pitch of the at-bat. How about 7 for number 7?
Fantastic. Just
Staying
love his
alive,
approach
yeah.
at the plate. He sees the ball so well, and a guy that put a lot of work into. He struggled a little bit last summer and at Georgetown his freshman year. He's still out there getting the job done, don't get me wrong, but just nowhere close to the numbers he's at now because he put the work in. Now he's going to be a Wake Forest Demon Deacon.
2-2 again. Back pick called strike 3, and back in safely is Senhai, but it doesn't matter because Schaff goes down on strikes. So we head to the home half of the 3rd. Keene loses 1 on their lead, but it's still a 3-1 game. Due up for the SwampBats, Xavier Perez, Ripken Reese, and Chandler Tupou on the other side of this break. What's up, Rivy? How's it going? He's entertaining the fans down the 3rd base line here in Alumni Field. Really a great night for baseball. Wow. Okay, Sanford just got a bench warning. Interesting. So that's something to monitor as home plate umpire Robert Strempick came over in the middle of the inning, and he's talking to, I don't know who he's talking to down there. Maybe manager Nick Lops.
Lops was
asking for an explanation.
Lops coaches 3rd. He was a little unhappy coming off the field after that last strike 3 call, and he's got to be careful to not be too hard on Robert Strempick, as it's still early in the game, and he's telling his team keep that chatter down in the dugout about balls and strikes, because when it's this early in the game and you're already on the home plate umpire, things could just get worse from there, and then that's when you start seeing ejections, and then with the league rules that take some guys out of
the next game,
out of the future games.
First pitch to Xavier Perez is hit high and deep out to left center field. Back at the wall. See ya! How about 2 on the day for Xavier Perez? And his 3rd as a SwampBat in 2025. This guy cannot stop hitting home runs. 4-1 early in this game.
He knew it off the bat, too. Didn't hustle down that line because he hit it and just watched it fly to dead center. Mucciarone tried to surprise him maybe a little bit with that first pitch off speed, but Perez was ready for it, and what a night he's having.
Caught one high in the zone, and Xavier Perez is having some fun. Yeah, he knew that one. That's a second no-doubter. That one 97 miles an hour, 340 feet. And that brings up Ripken Reese, who looks at a ball. Reese walked and scored. Was driven in by Ty Manolfi in the first. So the third home run of the day for these teams combined as Reese checks his swing, 2-0. Mucciarone wants to get back at it quickly, understandably. There's Xavier Perez having... He's wagging his tongue at the camera. He saw the camera focusing in on him. He's going to take his chance, and he doesn't know he's blocked by the pole there, but we'll let him figure that out post-game. 4-1, or 4-1 the score. Nice diving stop by Kipley. And a great play by the Sanford second baseman. Throws over to Sensei and retires Reese.
Great work. The infield has been nothing but spectacular all season. That's just not a routine play. Curtly goes hard to his left, keeps it in front of him. And that's what you got to do. You got to keep it in front of you. On those, you don't always have to field it cleanly because you're close to the first base side.
Right.
You're going to have that shorter throw. As long as you keep it in front, you're going to have a shot to get anyone going down the line.
Tupou looks at ball one, and Tupou to the plate. He's already struck out once. The 1-0 on is on the way. Breaking ball, that's a little bit high.
We talked about it pre-game. Knew we were going to see some home runs tonight.
Yep.
Didn't know it was going to be this many this early.
Right. Maybe spaced out a little bit more, but not 3 in the first 3 innings of this game. And 2 from Xavier Perez. 2-1, laced down the first base line and fair for at least a single as Strohmeyer picks it up and holds Tupou at first.
It could have been extra bases off the bat, but Strohmeyer was actually shaded closer to the line than he was to right center. That's why it's only a single, which is another great piece of hitting from a Keene SwampBat. You get that breaking ball and you just sit on it and drive it pull side. Just got by Sensei's glove. We already saw one nice play over there, but to get it by him, an athletic first baseman, you got to hit it hard.
And hit it hard he did. Maybe some top spin off of that one. Only came off at 80 miles an hour, but when it's coming at you that fast, it can be tough to get. Here's Ty Manolfi, who's coming to this game hitting .310 on the year, and just this last week or so for Manolfi has been just phenomenal. Look at the splits. Manolfi's last 10 games has the highest average on the team at .429, 6 for 14 in 6 games. There's a strike.
He'll be teammates with Sanford center fielder Jack Toomey.
Yes, he will.
This upcoming year in Chestnut Hill.
Just committed to Boston College on Thursday. He took his visit there on Thursday and committed the same day. Tupou jumping around there at first. Off-speed pitch. Manolfi just missed it.
Sanford's been in a similar situation, and that's just the world of the portal now.
Yep.
Guys gonna have to step away for a little bit at points through the summer because they are here in the summer to represent their school, no matter how no matter how important these games are.
Right.
They're here representing their school, and with the portal, they got to find the right fit. So you can always let them take that time away.
1-2, a well-hit ball to center field. Toomey has a beat on it, and the 2 Boston College Eagles will combine for a line out there. Is 2 away here in the third.
Good piece of hitting just right at Toomey.
Yep.
That's the break that Mucciarone's needed, is let up some hard contact. And unfortunate for him, it's been either over the fence or where nobody was positioned, and at one point you're going to get away with one that's well hit but directly at one of your guys behind you.
Look at the switch hitter Nick Romano, who waves at a first pitch slider. That slider, when it's lower in the zone, has been really effective, it seems like, for Mucciarone today.
He's had a couple mistakes where he has left it up, and that's where he's got hurt, especially on that homer to Perez to start the inning, but that's low and into a lefty, a tough pitch to hit.
Flares at this one, heads up down the right side, and it lands in the batting turtle. 0-2 now to Romano.
And that was that same pitch, that low and in slider, and even though Romano got a good piece on that, because of where that ball is located, that's all he's going to be able to do with it is pull it into foul territory.
Now, you get the barrel out so far early, then that's what's going to happen. 0-2 to the FAU man, Nick Romano. That one, a little bit of chin music, comes in at 88. He takes it for a ball. No real need to challenge a hitter at this point in the AB.
And let's see if that can work as a setup pitch. You give him the fastball upstairs, maybe come back with a changeup low.
1-2. He does throw that changeup low, but it's taken for a ball, and it's deuces wild on the board right now. 2-2 with 2 away to Romano. And a breaking ball that just misses, and Tupou just takes second base without anybody looking. It'll be a stolen base, as everybody was kind of maybe expecting that to be a strike, and he said, hey, I'm going to go take second. That's Tupou's 4th stolen base of the year. High pop up, and that will go out of play.
Yeah, that last one was interesting. None of the middle infielders broke hard to the bag as soon as Tupou took off, and
everybody was just kind of asleep at the wheel.
McGinnis didn't work his way into the secondary stance behind the plate to get up and throw. But maybe it was that situation where he was sitting back expecting it to be called a strike.
Here's the 3-2. That one's inside. Romano draws a walk. So runners on first and second for TJ Schuyler, who has driven in his only RBI, or has driven in his only run of the year with runners in scoring position. He had a sacrifice fly to tie the game in a late stage comeback against Upper Valley. All the way back, I want to say that would have been the 13th of June. We're about halfway through this NECBL season. And fresh count to Schuyler. He waves at a slider and misses.
This is an important part of this game. If you're Mucciarone on the mound, it probably feels like you've got about 10 runs so far, just because of how good your first 2 outings were. But you got to look up. It's only a 3-run game. You don't want things to get more out of hand with 2 runners on.
One in the dirt, but kept in front by McGinnis. With how big of a backstop there is here at Keene, it's possible that, you know, when balls get by a catcher, it's almost a guarantee that guys are going to advance at least a base. 1-1 to the catcher, TJ Schuyler, out of Indiana. He fouls this one off the inside part of the bat.
It's another spot here where that's a pitch that can set up Mucciarone for his next pitch. The fastball up and in.
Yep.
And with a righty-righty matchup, you maybe come back with that slider. You try to get it low and away, get a swing and miss.
Let's see what McGinnis calls here on 1 and 2. He goes with an outside fastball, maybe just yanked it a little bit.
It did just tell you could tell he was trying to paint it on that other half because he just came in, and that's where you can freeze a guy. If you place it really well on that outside corner, probably going to get a take.
2-2. There's that slider and catches Schuyler out in front of it. So the Bats score 1 on Xavier Perez's 2nd homer of the day to lead off the 3rd inning, and we'll head to the top of the 4th when we come back. Jackson Walsh will have the middle innings of play-by-play on the other side of this break. 2 up for the Mainers. It's Jack Toomey, Kellen Strohmeyer, and Luke Jenkins on the other side of this break.
Community would not be the same. So let's thank them tonight. We are drawing some winners of some prizes. So if you did a passbook tonight with Savings Bank of Walpole, or you entered into a Yeti cooler with Powers Guaranteed Services, pull out your green ticket. We're going to start with them. All right, Jonathan, pull the ticket.
5418107.
All right, so if you have that ticket number, go ahead. 5418107. Head over to the Powers tent to claim your Yeti cooler. All right, moving on to Savings Bank of Walpole.
So we also have one of the nonprofits, Pathways for Keene, was giving away a Norm's gift.
Some more fun on the field here at Alumni Field in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire, as we head to the top of the 4th. The Keene SwampBats with a 4-1 lead over the visiting Sanford Mainers, thanks to that man on the mound, Ben Rabatin. Just 1 hit allowed. It was a solo shot last inning to the leadoff man for Sanford, Trey King. Other than that, he has been pretty close to lights out. 3 innings, 1 hit, 7 strikeouts for the big righty out of Kent State.
Yeah, and for a guy who's he's 6 feet tall, he's not the tallest pitcher by any means, but to have that much velocity and that much strength. We've seen him get up to, he sits around 92, 93 with that fastball and so much spin on the off-speed pitch. It's been really effective against this Sanford lineup.
Batten will pitch with a 3-run lead here in the top of the 4th after Keene grabbed another on the second home run of the night from Xavier Perez, a solo shot to start us in the bottom of the 3rd. That was to dead center field. Just waiting on the
I think everybody's ready here, but they're still doing some script reading. I'm not sure what it is, but Xavier Perez is just fiddling around with his glove and waiting in left field. And he's played a game at first. I think everybody's ready to get going. Hello, Marcello Mastriani and Max Weber.
And Rabatten's not that happy.
No, he wants
yelling
to get
into
going.
his glove behind the mound because he's in a groove and he doesn't want to get held up.
Yeah. So we'll see how he adjusts.
The Ribby and friends lead the field.
Oh, yeah.
We're ready to go on the top of the 4th. Jack Toomey, the center fielder, steps in. Struck out looking to end the 1st inning, his first time up. Toomey, the Boston College product. You can see him rocking his Maroon Eagles helmet. Rabatten winds and deals. First pitch. Called the ball outside. Toomey came into this game batting .263. Usually see him hitting 3rd, 4th, or 5th for Sanford this summer. A 3rd year Sanford Mainer.
Wow.
Rabatten's 1-0.
That tells you a lot about the organization when a guy wants to come back for that many years in a row. Sometimes it's more common to see two-year guys, but 3-year guys is pretty rare in summer ball.
And they got to be a good player, too, to be in the NECBL after their freshman year.
Right.
The 2-0. Taken first strike, the count goes to 2-1. And Toomey makes it back-to-back years that Sanford has had a 3-year player. Devin Bade of the Mainers last year, known as the captain, was a 3rd-year Sanford Mainer, everyday 3rd baseman. 2-1 to Toomey. That'll run inside. It goes to a hitter's count at 3-1.
And there's a couple of 2nd-year guys. Ripken Reese is one of them for the SwampBats, but I don't believe there's any 3rd-year guys with Keene.
It is extremely rare to see around the league, and has to be a single digit of players overall. 3-1 is swung on, but flared foul. That'll move the count full. Ripken Reese and Nick Romano in the lineup tonight, returners from last season.
That's right.
These guys remember what the Sanford Mainers team did to Keene last year. 7-1 in the regular season.
Yeah, they had the number.
9-1 when you include the playoffs. Sanford swept Keene in a 3-game series. 1 game back at Goodall Park, and then clinched it here at Alumni Field. The payoff pitch to Toomey. He'll take that lone away. Jack Toomey works a walk to lead off the 4th.
Really nice at bat, and now we're batting up to 65 pitches. You wonder if those middle inning festivities mess with his rhythm a little bit. But if there's a guy who's going to be able to get back into rhythm and start rolling again, it's Ben Rabatten.
The 4th walk of the night for Rabatten, and a man that had one of them back in the 2nd inning steps up to the plate. Kellen Strohmeyer, the right fielder. Strohmeyer 6 for his last 13, swinging a hot bat. First pitch from Rabatten. That'll miss just downstairs for ball 1. Strohmeyer coming to Maine this year after playing in the Alaskan League last summer. Rabatten to the plate. Swing and a miss for strike 1.
Looks like they're motioning to get somebody hot in the SwampBats bullpen. That's Jake Hooker, who hasn't pitched in a couple of days. He's a guy from Zionsville, Indiana, which is not too far from where I'm from. It's a neighboring town, neighboring city, really. Plays his college ball at Xavier University. Not Xavier like Perez, but Xavier.
Cincinnati, Ohio.
That's right. The home of Skyline Chili. I don't know if you've ever had it. I've never had it.
I have not.
No, I'm not really itching for it either.
Rabatten's 2-1. Strohmeyer will take it inside the command, getting away from Ben Rabatten a little bit here in the 4th.
It's understandable. He's almost up to, he's about to throw he just threw his 70th pitch. So he's running on fumes here, but he's had a great outing thus far.
He's gone 4 innings in all of his first 3 starts. The 3-1 to Strohmeyer, fouled back. Once again, the count goes full.
It seemed like Strohmeyer was really on time with that fastball from Rabatten. at 90, one of Rabatten's slower ones of the day, but just dropped the barrel a little bit under it.
I talked about it. He hasn't been swinging and missing a lot lately. A lot of bat on ball and a lot of walks. Trying to work one here in the 3-2 count with no down. Rabatten to the plate. Fouled off as Strohmeyer stays alive. Hooker warming up in the bullpen. He actually got the save the first time.
Yes, he did.
These two teams met.
That was his debut, I believe. For this one. He was a little bit of a late arrival for Keene, and he has been pretty phenomenal ever since.
A 6-3 win for Keene at Goodall Park on June 12th. We do it 3-2 once again. This one popped foul out of play.
That was a great game. Just all around really solid baseball.
Ended up being the 4th consecutive loss for Sanford to open up the year. They ended up losing 5 in a row before getting their first win against Upper Valley. It's a slow start, but
stabilized.
Yep, things have picked back up at Goodall Park. We'll do it again on the 3-2. Rabatten to Strohmeyer. Popped foul again. A lot of long at-bats tonight.
A ton of foul balls, too, from both sides. Maybe, I don't know, this might be Rabatten's last batter.
See here, Strohmeyer trying to chase him from the game. The 3-2. That'll miss low. Back-to-back walks for Sanford to open up the 4th. It's now 5 walks on the night for Rabatten, and he's had good numbers, but one thing that does jump out is the walks.
This will be the end of his day, as head coach Sean McKenna will make the point to the bullpen, and Jake Hooker is going to come in relief. But a really solid outing from Rabatten.
So Ben Rabatten's night is done. We'll have a change, and we'll come back next. Here at Alumni Field, you're watching SwampBats and Mainers.
Please, now pitching SwampBats from Xavier University in Zionsville, Indiana. Number 19, Jake Hooker.
Back here from Alumni Field, top of the 4th inning. The SwampBats with a 4-1 lead on the Mainers, and first pitching change we see tonight, it's Jake Hooker on the mound out of Xavier. And Andrew, he's been fantastic this year for Keene.
Yeah, really solid. 7 total innings pitched. He's allowed 4 hits, no runs, walked 2, and struck out 7. Guys are hitting under 175 against him in the batting average against department. Nice stuff, a lot of ride, and is able to, he's a very accurate pitcher. So 2 saves as well on the year. The numbers have been really impressive for Jake Hooker.
We mentioned it when he was warming up. One of those saves came against this very Mainers team back at Goodall Park. Only meeting between Keene and Sanford. That was on June 12th. The SwampBats won 6-3. It actually ended up being the home opener for Sanford because of the plethora of rainouts the Mainers had to begin the year. But Hooker comes on in a big spot here. Rabatten's night is over after walking the first too many faces in the 4th, so it'll be 1st and 2nd, no outs, and Luke Jenkins will come to the plate.
Well, Jenkins already having a line out in this game. You know, he's getting contact on the baseball, but it's going to be different, a different arm slot with Hooker. Still a righty, but it might take him a little bit to adjust. When you were coming in, you were a reliever, correct?
Correct.
So when you're coming into a game, especially when guys have already seen, you know, another pitcher on your squad, what is it an advantage for you?
You have that mental kind of thing in the back of your head where I was
it's like I know more about you than you know about me.
Exactly. I was a lower slot righty, so I'd love coming in after a lefty or a right-hander who's over the top and could really bring it velocity-wise, because I was looking to get ground balls. So that is something you think about. You don't want to go in after a guy who kind of has a similar release and velocity to you.
Right.
Hooker's been phenomenal for Keene this summer. Big spot here with Jenkins at the plate. Mainers trailing by 3. First pitch, Jenkins fouls it off. Out of play down the left field line.
Keene High School in the background there. This is actually the home stadium of Keene High School for high school ball.
Not a bad park.
No.
To play your high school career at. The 0-1. Fouled off again. And the count goes to 0-2 on Jenkins.
So a couple of foul balls, but Hooker has to be careful not to, one, hang something over the plate, which we haven't seen him do that yet this year. But 2, let guys foul off too many pitches where your pitch count gets up. You want to see Hooker go to at least 2 innings in this game. You'd prefer 3.
The 0-2, breaking ball, cut on and missed. Hooker comes in and delivers a strikeout. There's 1 out in the 4th.
Well, that'll help. I mean, 2 foul balls, and then you change up speeds and, get a guy waving out ahead of it. That's a really good pitch sequence from Jake Hooker in relief.
That brings up the catcher, Cole McGinnis. Struck out swinging in his first at-bat to end the 2nd inning. McGinnis making his 8th start behind the dish for Sanford this summer out of UNC Asheville. Hooker to the plate. That'll miss in the dirt for ball 1.
A little slide back from McGinnis. Not the greatest hitting season, but as a catcher, when you're splitting time with another guy, you're not going to get as many looks at the plate.
Hooker will check back to second. Toomey scampers back in time. It is tough as a catcher to get in the groove because most of the guys in the lineup, position players, are playing
every day,
3, 4, sometimes 5 days a week.
Yep.
The catcher, you're splitting time, and Sanford has rotated through 3 catchers at points. This one chopped foul. The count goes to 1-1. Brennan Hudson not in the lineup tonight. He's had some time behind the plate, and then the other primary catcher is Ryan Colbin out of UMass Amherst. He has the day off tonight. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 down in the top of the 4th. Hooker has got a strikeout. The 1-1. This is away for ball 2.
Gonna have to be careful of letting that pitch count go too high too early in the outing for Jake Hooker, but it's not a concern. He's had that 1 strikeout and is pretty solid with runners on.
McGinnis, a North Carolina native, as runners are on the move. He went around the throw to second, gets Strohmeyer by plenty. He didn't even get down to slide. There was a strike on the pitch, so strike 2, and then Strohmeyer thrown out at second. There's 2 down.
Well, TJ Schuyler is a very aware catcher, and we'll have a look at this. I mean, just not even close. A great play and a perfect throw from Schuyler. And yeah, Strohmeyer knew he was hosed. He didn't bother sliding. But they get the runner to third.
2-2,
and it's not gonna
breaking
matter.
ball, caught him looking. Jake Hooker comes on and delivers 2 strikeouts. We head to the bottom of the 4th. Keene with a 4-1 lead.
What I'm looking for in a bank is one that's looking out for me, like NBT. I want a relationship and a team that supports me and my dreams, like NBT. And let's face it, life can get challenging. I need a bank that's focused on me. They've been rated tops in all the things that matter, like trust, customer service, and financial advice. So when I need a bank I can trust, it's always NBT and me.
Rondé Barber here. Being in the NFL for 16 years, I've dealt with my fair share of bumps and bruises. But typical ice packs never stayed cold long enough, were messy and inconvenient. HurtSkirt offers the same long-lasting treatment as ice does, but without the hassle. HurtSkirt uses no antifreeze chemicals, ensuring that panels freeze solid and stay colder for longer. Drop the ice, skirt the hurt. Use code BARBER20 for 20% off and free shipping at HurtSkirt.com.
Back here, a big crowd on hand in Keene, New Hampshire. And the SwampBats with a 4-1 lead on their North Division rivals, the Sanford Mainers, as we head to the bottom of the 4th. Andrew Hillsman, Jackson Walsh here with you from Alumni Field.
We're having some fun. This is a fun day at the ballpark just to be here in general. I mean, the SwampBats on the field are having some more fun at the moment, but just the fans are happy. That makes us happy. It makes our job a little more fun when joy spreads pretty infectiously here at Alumni Field.
Always a good time when these two teams meet up.
Oh, yeah.
Keene having a fantastic season so far. 15-4, best record in the NECBL. Sanford is 6-10, already 7.5 back in the North Division behind Keene.
That win streak that Keene had at the start of the year tied the league record for longest win streak at 11. They got walked off by Upper Valley in the second game of a doubleheader. So just a heartbreaking way for that to end, but all around, I mean, that's just an amazing, they set the franchise record.
Bell swings on the first pitch, grounds it to Connolly. Long throw across the diamond, but in time to get Bell for out number 1.
It can be tough for third basemen to set their feet and make an accurate throw, but that's as good as you're gonna see that throw made. Great arm for Brian Connolly, who's, like I think you mentioned, not the everyday third baseman, but still, I mean, just steps in and rifles that right over.
He's been really good in the infield for the Mainers this year when he's been out there, a Maine native. Transferred from Wake Forest to URI. That brings up the leadoff man, Michael O'Brien, center fielder out of Arkansas Little Rock. 1-2 tonight with a bunt for a base hit back in the second inning.
I doubt he's gonna go back to it.
The 1-0 on the ground to second. Kirtley ranges over. And 2 quick outs for Mucciaroni in the 4th.
This is what Mucciaroni needed, to just efficiency at this point.
The exact inning that Mucciaroni was looking for, as you said, Andrew. It's been a tough go for him. His roughest start of the year. 7 hits, 4 runs. Let up a couple of home runs, both of them to Xavier Perez, who now looms on deck with Jack Herring, the right fielder, at the plate. He doubled back in the first inning. Mucciaroni to the plate. And that'll miss inside for ball 1. Those 2 outs are a great example of why Mucciaroni has had success this year, just getting guys early in the count.
Yeah.
Weak grounders. And Bell ground out to the third baseman Connolly, and then O'Brien rounds out at second to Kirtley. The 1-1 to Herring. Swung on, laced into right center field. That could be extra bases. Herring rounds second. He'll head into second, rounded first, excuse me. The throw to second is not in time. It's a 2-out double for Jack Herring.
Well, I talked about it a little bit earlier with Herring, hard contact that is found opposing gloves in the outfield. Now we're seeing Herring put it together, 2 doubles, very hard hit balls. That came off the barrel at 103 miles an hour, so that was just ripped. Didn't have the launch angle, of course, to get out, but a very solid swing, and Herring with a ton of power, and he's really starting to put it together here in this game.
Herring with 2 doubles on the night. In the first inning, he went to the left center gap. Here in the 4th, he goes to the right center gap, and the dangerous Xavier Perez at the plate. 2 for 2 with 2 homers. Take the first pitch, low and away for ball 1.
Right on the corner. He looked like he started the hips to move, but the hands didn't follow, and that's not a pitch you're going to do a lot with, even for Perez, who has 2 dingers today.
Count is 0-1 on the strike. Mucciaroni checks second to the plate. Grounded in the hole. King ranges on, throws to first in time to get Perez. So a 2-out double, but no damage. Mucciaroni, a bounce back inning. We head to the 5th. Keene leads 4-1.
Okay, folks, it's time for the last game of the night. It's the fan favorite race to Ribby. We have these 3 speedsters. They know what they're doing. They're staying on the grass around second. Whoever gives Ribby a high five is the winner. You guys feeling quick? You guys feeling ready? 3, 2, 1, go! They're off. It's neck and neck. They're coming around the last turn. Who's it gonna be? Crocs is pulling away. Wes is right on his tail, and so is Emmett. Who's it gonna be? An incredible race. Thank you, guys.
Back here for the top of the 5th in Keene. First, we'll send it down to the field to Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan?
Yeah, well, it is a very tight race, especially in the South Division, but the SwampBats still lead the Northern Division as it is a close race as well. But really, fellas, what really matters most is not the games back from first place, but the games back from fourth place. Due to the scheduling and how the playoffs work, there's no first-round bye in the NDCBL playoffs. So it really matters just getting in to fourth place, sneaking in, so anything can happen in the playoffs. So first place to fourth place, all making it into the playoffs at the end of the season. But that's at the end of July. Lots of time left.
Still here in late June, but as Ryan said, some very exciting stuff going around the NDCBL. Some powerhouse teams on both sides of the division. One of them here tonight, the Keene SwampBats, first place in the North at 15-4.
So Hooker is right into his motion here, and already 2 quick strikes on Ryder Kirtley.
Kirtley down 0-2 on the count. He leads off the 5th inning. Struck out swinging his first at bat. The 0-2. Called strike 3, a 3-pitch strikeout for Jake Hooker. 3 consecutive punch-outs for the righty out of Xavier.
I mean, it's a strikeout fest at the moment. That's the 10th strikeout as a team for the Sanford hitters, and just waving and missing all over the place. Final stat line for Ben Rabatin, a pretty solid start. 3 innings pitched, 1 hit, one run that was earned, 5 walks and those 7 strikeouts like we mentioned, and Hooker is picking out right where Ben left off.
Brings up the 9-hitter, Brian Connolly. He struck out his first at bat. He'll take upstairs for ball 1.
Keene will have North Shore tomorrow for 2 games, and after that, that'll be the midway point of the season for the SwampBats.
It has gone by
fast,
extremely fast.
I'm glad we agree on that.
Count is 1-1 to Connolly. Foul back for strike 2.
Just Hooker so effective this early. He's a very strong arm. Quick motion, and the ball, he kind of hides it behind his body and whips it through. Not an odd arm angle, but very effective at hiding it behind his back to a righty hitter.
Breaking ball just misses to even the count at 2-2. Hooker to the plate, got him swinging. 4 straight strikeouts for Jake Hooker, and there's 2 down in the 5th.
Now, we've just been delivered a peanut butter frosted cake here.
Thank you very much.
Whoever, thank you. Now, this is, I don't know, can we get this on camera? Is it possible? I mean, this looks great. Wow.
Can't complain
about dig into
delivery.
this. Hey, free cake? Yeah. Sure. It's a good first pitch from Hooker.
Trey King back at the plate.
Huh. That's not what I expected.
King responsible for that.
I hope you're not allergic to peanut butter.
Goes backside, and he's got his 2nd hit of the night. King around first, but he'll put the brakes on there. Another 2-out hit for Trey King. Homered in the 3rd and singles here in the 5th.
I really hope you're not allergic to peanut butter, Jackson.
I'm not, don't worry.
Okay, good. So here we are. We've got the cameras on us, and I'm careful not to spill my cake. You can kind of see it, but I'm going to try it. Yeah, that's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. I'm a fan.
Free cake in the press box.
Free is good, and peanut butter is better. Yeah, big fan. 2 thumbs up.
2 outs and a man on after Trey King singles.
Only baseball allows us to do these things.
Can't beat it. First pitch from Hooker in there for a strike on Sensei.
I haven't eaten my dinner yet. My mom's going to kill me.
The 0-1. He'll go low and inside. The count moves to 1-1 on Brendan Sensei out of Bentley. Hit .411 for the Falcons this spring. 86 hits. A program record for the season.
That's not too bad.
1-1.
Good pick by Skyler to keep it in front of him, especially when it bounces on the plate rather than on the dirt. It can be tough for a catcher to track because it's going to spin a little different. But Skyler good at keeping the ball right in front of him.
Hooker to the plate. Grounded to the right side, and that's through for a base hit. The second baseman, Reese, was shaded up the middle. And Sensei goes the other way, finds a hole The Mainers have back-to-back two-out singles.
So 2 outs, and the Mainers' bats have honestly been really effective. We saw that Trey King 2-out homer that you mentioned just a little bit ago, and then a walk from Sensei in the third. Now 2 consecutive singles with 2 outs, and no runs across yet, but still a dangerous situation and a dangerous hitter to the plate who's yet to pop a homer this year. But you feel like, especially at Alumni Field, now is as good as time as any.
It's Blake Schaff. It's the start at DH tonight. First pitch he sees is low, and Skyler was thinking about throwing back over to first behind Sensei, but his first baseman Tupou not really in the perfect position for that. He's ranged back with 2 outs. Schaff tonight 0 for 1, worked a walk in the first, struck out looking in the third. That one in there for a called strike.
I know you're calling play-by-play right now. I can't believe you haven't tried this game.
I'm waiting between innings, don't worry.
I couldn't resist.
Hooker trying to work out of back-to-back 2-out singles. The 1-1 breaking ball left it upstairs, but Schaff just missed it as he fouls it off. The count's 1-2.
Yeah, right high in the zone, and it looks really good to a hitter coming in, especially as a lefty. You're able to track it quite a bit. It can be a dangerous spot to leave a pitch, but I hesitate to say Hooker got away with one there because he's got enough spin on it that can be effective.
Hooker looking for his 5th punch out. Struck out 4 consecutive before the singles from King and Sensei. The 1-2. This is up. The count goes to 2-2.
That's not really a challenge pitch. He goes back to that slider or that off-speed pitch that he wants to leave up high. And that one's maybe popped out of the hand a little early or just didn't get the right release on it.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs in the top of the 5th here in Keene. Hooker to the plate. Schaff pops it up. Reset second, camped under it, and he's there for out number 3. Jake Hooker looks phenomenal in relief so far. We head to the bottom of the 5th. Keene still holds a 4-1 lead.
What makes a great team hat? It starts with a Z. For decades, Zephyr has been making the most iconic headwear in the game, trusted by teams, colleges, and pros. We cut out the middlemen and work directly with our manufacturers, so you get top quality, fast turnaround, and prices that make sense. From bold designs to unbeatable fit, Zephyr hats are built to match the quality of your team, right down to the last stitch. Zephyr Team Headwear, born from experience, built for teams that stand out.
Bottom of the 5th inning here in Keene, New Hampshire, the southwest corner of New Hampshire, in a beautiful ballpark here at Alumni Field. A good crowd on hand, and the SwampBats are giving the home fans something to cheer about. They're up 4-1 as we head to the bottom of the 5th.
Yeah, due up for the Bats. Ripken Reese, Chandler Tupou, and Ty Manolfi, 3 hitters that have been on a tear recently. Tupou, lesser of such, but he started off so well that the average is still up there, and the plate discipline is there. He's only struck out once, and he has a single and stole a bag today. But Ripken Reese and Ty Manolfi just have been raking at the plate as of late.
Fredo Mucciarone on the mound just had a good bounce back inning for Sanford. Led up the double to Herring with 2 outs, but the 3 outs he collected were all weakly hit ground balls, and that's where he's had his success this season. But another test here with 4-5-6, as Andrew mentioned. Ripken Reese, the second baseman out of Kent State, will lead off. He's 0 for 1 tonight, worked a walk back in the first and scored.
Now, Jackson, I wonder if the goal, even though that he's allowed 8 hits and 4 runs, there's still nobody warming up for Sanford's bullpen. So is the goal for him to go at least 5 innings, maybe 6?
It seems like it at this point.
Yeah.
If you're Nick Lops, he's a guy that was the Friday guy at UMass Lowell this past year, so he's used to getting extended at school. He'd work into the 7th, 8th innings. This is his 3rd start here. Has gone 6 both of his outings, so he can get you some innings, and it's really not getting out of hand. I don't see the reason to pull him.
Yeah. Well, just as that pitch count gets higher and higher, he's now above 70. You wonder about, because there's still half the season left to go. You can't just sell him out. You want to keep him, and he's probably going to be a crucial part of the playoff push for Sanford.
2-1 to Reese. That'll miss outside. The count goes to 3-1. And Mutroni's a guy where he'll be talking in the dugout between innings, so the coaching staff knows how to use him, and they know how comfortable Fredo is on the mound with how deep he wants to go. The 3-1. Big swing and a miss for strike 2.
Well, you knew that Reese was going to look for that fastball. As you know, conventional wisdom says, hey, you need to throw a strike here, and it's 3-1. Challenge fastball is not a bad play.
Payoff pitch goes to the breaker and misses low. And Ripken Reese is on with his second walk of the night.
Good things have happened when he's drawn walks, and have to wait a little bit, see if Tupou can make something happen and add to the pressure with Manolfi on deck. Manolfi, who was 1 for 2, but that single was a 3 RBI single in the middle of the 7-inning doubleheader, or the second game of that 7-inning 2-game set. So a big-time hit from Manolfi last night.
Tupou at the plate. Take the first one upstairs. Chandler Tupou, the first baseman out of Charleston Southern. He's 1 for 2 tonight. Struck out in the first, singled and stole a base in the third. Ripken Reese leads off of first. He just worked a walk. This one popped up in foul territory towards third. And Connolly there to pull it in for out number 1.
Good read, especially when the ball goes that high, and it has a lot of spin on it, so it can be kind of confusing for fielders to make those plays. You see it a lot of times with pop-ups in foul territory behind the plate. Catchers have to make a read on it. So a good eye there from Connolly to make that play.
But now 1 down in the bottom of the 5th. That brings up time. Manolfi, the DH, has an RBI single tonight. First pitch to Manolfi. Takes the breaking ball downstairs for ball 1.
Usually you think of DH guys as power hitters, you know, home run threat guys. But Manolfi, he has power in his bat, but hasn't, you know, put one out. The RBI numbers and the approach at the plate is what's really impressed his coaching staff, and that's why he's a regular DH.
The 1-0 runner on the move, McGinnis. Good throw down is in time to nab Reese. Perfect throw from Cole McGinnis behind the plate. Ripken Reese got a pretty good jump, but better defense from McGinnis, and now there's 2 down.
So a replay on this, and we'll see the throw, the tag. That's a bang-bang play. A really good effort from Ripken Reese, but just gets nabbed.
Counts 2-0 to Manolfi. At the knees for strike 1.
And a nice tag put on by the shortstop in Trey King as well.
They had to slap that down immediately. The 2-1 to Manolfi. Breaking ball runs inside, and it got him.
I don't think it wasn't on the leg that he has that leg guard either. It kind of slid into that back leg, but he looks like he's okay, which is good.
So Mutroni just yanked the breaking ball into the lefty. Manolfi, and now there's another man on with 2 outs. Nick Romano, the third baseman, comes to the plate 0 for 1 tonight.
And something interesting about Keene's lineup and how, you know, effective that they've been just getting to hitters or getting to pitchers is because oftentimes, especially in this lineup configuration, they've got 3 switch hitters spaced out. They have Herring in the 2-hole, then Reese at that 4-hole, and then you have now Nick Romano in the 7 slot, and all 3 of those guys are switch hitters.
Back over to first. Manolfi back safely. Romano, the third baseman out of FAU, a second-year Keene SwampBat. Grounded out to first base in the first inning. That one runs inside, and that got his bat.
Yeah.
So Romano was trying to say he got hit by the pitch on the elbow guard, but home plate umpire Robert Strempick
they're going to talk about it.
Said foul ball right away.
It sounded like a bat, but the plastic on the elbow guard, I don't know if we have a replay on it, we may, but you know, it can be interesting to just hear it. It's different. Romano's convinced that, let's see what we have here, and in it goes, and that looked like it hit him on the shoulder or on the elbow.
It looked like
you see because the bat's up by his left shoulder. I think that got him in the elbow guard. I think he's gonna take his base. Great job by our producer Mike Keller to get that replay. Gotta love slow motion, and Nick Lops is gonna walk out and have a chat with Strempick about it.
The umpires come together and overturn that call.
It
back-to-back hit by pitches.
It did sound very, very convincingly like a knob of a bat, so we were all fooled.
Not Much of an argument from Lops as he heads back to the dugout. So with 2 outs, nobody on after the caught stealing of Ripken Reese. Mucciarone has hit back-to-back swamp bats. That brings up TJ Schuyler, the catcher. 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts tonight, but a good chance to open this game up a little more. It's a 3-run lead for Keene. First pitch from Mucciarone in the dirt, and a good job from his catcher McGinnis to keep it in front.
Schuyler, you want to see him make something happen here, drive in a run, or at least just get on base. He's not been able to do that today.
Mucciarone to the plate. Swing and a miss. The count goes to 1-1 on Schuyler.
It's a great off-speed pitch, and you know, Schuyler is a guy who, like we said, has had a little bit of a slow start, but the power is there. You've seen it at Indiana. He can put good contact on a ball.
The 1-1. Just miss away for ball 2. That's what made Mucciarone successful those first couple outings, and he's shown it at times tonight, being able to throw that breaking ball
down
in
and
fastball
away.
counts, too. 2-1. Fouled off. That'll move the count even to 2-2. Mucciarone working into his 5th inning tonight. He's allowed 8 hits. 4 runs thanks to a couple of homers from Xavier Perez. Trying to get through 5. The 2-2. Froze him. Strike 3. So Mucciarone bounces back after the 2 hit-by pitches. We head to the 6th. Keene with a 4-1 lead on Sanford.
Tonight's Sweeping the Bases is proudly brought to you by the people at Dream Clean 123, the Greater Monadnock region's premier cleaning services. Just like your house, a baseball field can always use good cleaning. Let's hear it from Ribby and Brett as they make sure SwampBat baseball is always played on a clean field.
We head to the top of the 6th here in Keene, and the SwampBats still own a 4-1 lead over Sanford, and another new arm on the mound for Keene out of Stetson. It's Andrew Lapine.
Well, I've come up with a very low-hanging fruit. He's the yellow submarine today because Andrew Lapine, a submarine pitcher. You'll see in his warm-ups here, not high velo. The fastball's high 70s, breaking ball low 70s, high 60s, but very odd arm slot, especially, you know, we talked about Hooker's delivery in the last couple of innings and how he hid the ball so well, coming from up here now down at the hip or below the hip for Lapine. So it'll be interesting to see how these Sanford hitters can adjust.
You don't see a ton of submarine arms around anymore, especially here in the New England League. So
he's the only one that I know of, that I've seen at least, but he's fun to watch because it's just unique. Final stat line for Jake Hooker goes as follows: 2 innings pitched, 2 hits, no runs, no walks, and 4 Ks. So good middle innings for Jake Hooker.
Lapine on in the 6th. He'll face 4, 5, 6 in the Sanford order. It's going to start with Jack Toomey. Toomey's 0 for 1 tonight, struck out in the 1st inning. Last time at the plate, worked a walk in the 4th. Sanford had 1st and 2nd. No outs in the 4th inning, unable to show anything for it. Caught stealing mixed in there, and then back-to-back strikeouts. When Hooker came in the game, he was lights out.
You do wonder that maybe, do you think this might be Mucciarone's last inning? Maybe they leave him out? I don't know. Because based on what you have seen, are they short on pitching right now? Have they used a lot of guys?
I think that's definitely going to be Mucciarone's last inning, just the way it
because he's above 80 pitches.
And I think you're happy with it, considering the way the 1st inning went, that he only allowed 1 after that.
Exactly.
And it was a solo shot.
Yep.
There is Gage Wheaton out in the Mainers bullpen warming up. We've seen Wheaton once this year, showed up late out of Niagara. We'll see if we see him out there for the bottom of the 6th, but Jack Toomey at the plate to lead off the top of the 6th. First man to face. Lupine works from the sidearm delivery. That'll miss for ball 1.
So how tough is it for a hitter to just, change the arm slot? And that's why Lupine is here. That's a great pitch.
And that isn't a low 3/4 delivery. That's full on submarine too,
Yeah.
right there below the
It's
waist.
not sidearm, yeah, it's all the way low. Like Hobie Milner or, Tyler Rogers.
1-1 cut on and miss.
Those are the only submarine pitchers I know in MLB.
Yeah, Tyler Rogers definitely the most relevant
He's
one
like on the
these
floor.
days. That's
It's like bowling.
That's hand almost hitting the dirt when he releases it. The 1-2. Toomey able to hustle it foul as he stays alive.
I think somebody made a catch over there. Wow. I don't know who. I think we're obscured, but
we saw it
how about
disappear
it?
behind the bleachers.
Yep.
Lupine's 1-2. And it runs inside, and that's what happens. Sometimes as a lower arm slot guy, one will get away from you and it hits the back of Jack Toomey, and he'll head over to first base to kick things off in the 6th.
Are you speaking from experience there as a
I
lower
am.
arm slot guy? Yeah. I figured. But, yeah, that's just one that had him with 2 strikes. Unfortunate one to let get away, but Lupine, he's hit a couple of guys this year, but he has been able to bounce back.
Jack Toomey on first after getting hit by the pitch. Strohmeyer at the plate takes for ball 1. Strohmeyer, 2 walks tonight. Was caught stealing back in the 4th inning. It was when he was on first, Toomey was on second. They both stole, and the throw actually went down to second and got Strohmeyer. This one grounded up the middle. A great play by Reese, but he can't get it onto Bell. It was a fantastic stop to keep it in the infield, but just couldn't get it to second to his shortstop.
Well, with the amount of speed that Toomey has as a center fielder rounding second, you think if that ball gets through, then he's probably at third, at least.
Definitely, because it's not like it's a line drive in the
Right,
air and he's
yeah.
freezing. He's going.
A hard hit ball on the ground.
On contact. So the Mainers, once again, just like they did in the 4th, at first and second with no outs. Luke Jenkins at the plate.
I don't think that's an error either. I think that's just a hit.
Yep, they already did mark that as a hit. So the 4th hit of the night for Sanford. Jenkins just took for strike 1. Team comes set to the plate, flown out into center field. Should be an easy play for O'Brien, and he's there for out number 1.
Yep, nice routine play. It'll help Lupine's confidence as, he's sometimes a strikeout guy, but on other days where he's not able to blow up bypass or confuse guys, he's able to get soft contact and flyouts like that. And you're going to be happy with that in this point in the game. You're up by 3. You don't need big flashy strikeouts. Just getting outs is all that you need.
Toomey unable to advance at second base with a shallow flyout. Bring up the catcher, McGinnis. McGinnis 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts tonight. First one fouled back. Wouldn't have hated to see a buck last at bat with Luke Jenkins trying to advance the runners with no outs, and maybe it's well placed to have Jenkins beat it out down the first baseline. But
yeah, we saw one of those with Keene, a really successful bunt. I think it's hard to read out of this arm slot, though.
That'll miss low for ball 1. It's tough to read, and you don't want to come up in a situation we had in Bristol the other night. A bunt was popped up, and that just shut down an inning for Bristol. Really helped Sanford to keep that a tie game going to extras, as this one will miss as well for ball 2.
There's been just some insanely exciting games all across the league in the first month of the season. Like we mentioned, just crazy that we're already a month through.
2-1 is in there. And Sanford's already gone to extra innings twice this summer, both of them on the road. They fortunate enough to come away with wins in both of those games. 10 innings at North Adams, 10 innings at Bristol.
Wow. Keene has yet to go to an extra inning game this year. Seen a lot that's been decided in the 9th, but none in extras.
The 2-2 just misses outside, and the count goes full. Keene wanted that one on the mound.
Yep.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out in the 6th. To the plate, Guinness.
Another strong at bat.
Stays alive, he's able to foul it back. Keene trying to put him away. We'll do it again on the 3-2. Another foul ball, this time flown out on the right side into the pine trees. McGinnis trying to avoid his third strikeout of the night.
The other thing that you need to avoid here if you're Sanford is soft contact in the infield. The 2-ball is certainly in play.
3-2. Flown out into center. Fairly deep, but O'Brien camps under it. Not deep enough for Toomey to tag, and there's 2 down in the 6th.
Wow, what a throw by O'Brien. He has a laser of an arm. Wasn't tested there, but it's kind of like a warning shot. Next one is going to be the same if you try to go on him.
Let Sanford know what he has out there for future purposes, and Ryder Kirtley steps up to the plate. Before that fly out from Cole McGinnis, 7, 8, 9 in the Mainers order was 0 for 6 with 6 strikeouts. Oof. Kirtley's 0 for 2 with 2 Ks, and Brian Connolly on deck also with 2 strikeouts. First pitch to Kirtley. Across the dish for strike 1.
When you deal with a starter throwing 93, 94, that off-speed pitch at 69 miles an hour messes with your head a little bit, I would think.
Especially from that arm slot.
Yeah, right.
It's nasty stuff from down there.
It looks cool from up here, but as a hitter in the batter's box, it has to just look kind of sort of just insane.
I never got to swing the bat past high school, but I can't believe the difference in what it looks like. Velocity and release. A 1-1 not there. It'll move the count to 2-1. The faithful here at Alumni Field wanted that strike call, trying to pull for Andrew Lapine. 2-1. Fouled off. That goes 2-2.
Throughout the summer, I've gotten to understand, like, you know, what good spin rate is, what IVB, horizontal break, all that. I have no idea what it is looking at a submarine arm. Just the relation of it, it hurts my brain too much.
A lot of different numbers. The 2-2 swung on and missed. Lapine struck him out. Allows 2 base runners, but no runs on the board. We head to the bottom of the 6th. Keene leads 4-1.
We are Keene State. Here, we believe that everyone is welcome and anything is possible.
Look closer. We are a tight-knit community, an inclusive community, where people can be their true selves. Bring your ability, background, culture, or traditions, whatever makes you you.
You already have what it takes. Welcome to Keene State.
Oh, hello, Time and Olfie.
Jump scare coming back to the bottom of the 6th.
Staring contest here, and I think I win. Anyway, new pitcher. What do we know about him?
Gage Wheaton on the mound out of Niagara. This is the 2nd appearance of the summer for Wheaton. Threw back on June 23rd. That was Monday at home against Newport. 2 innings, 1 run, 2 hits. That 1 run coming on a solo shot to the short porch at right field in Goodall Park. But the guy that did look really good. We talked about how solo homers don't kill you. That's what his 1 run allowed is. And other than that, he looked great for his first outing after a couple weeks off between school ball and coming up to Sanford for the summer.
We'll have some work to do against a Keene lineup that has really put together one of the more complete outings that I've seen. They haven't put as many runs up on the board as they have in some other games, but it just seems like the game has been complete for them. They've had some bunt hits. They've had a bunt hit. They've had home runs. They've had doubles. It's kind of everything you want in an offense.
Wheaton on the mound at Niagara this year. 34 innings, struck out 41, made 17 appearances. Also 7 starts. First man he'll face in the bottom of the 6th is Andrew Bell, the shortstop out of Duke. Bell, 1 for 2 tonight, single back in the 2nd. Grounded out to 3rd his last at bat in the 4th. And donning his blue Duke Blue Devils helmet.
And even with the coaching change, he went into the portal but decided to return to the Blue Devils for next year. So he is locked in on his plans for next year.
Fredo Mucciaroni's day is done. 5 innings, 8 hits, 4 earned, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts for the righty out of UMass Lowell. Wheaton's first pitch. That'll miss for ball 1.
And Bell, another guy whose bat, you know, you see the potential because he's had some hard hit balls. Again, it was sort of like Herring to a lesser extent, where, you know, he's hitting the ball decently well. It's just seeing some flyouts, seeing some lineouts. But now this is a game where Herring in that 2-hole has just put it together with 2 doubles.
The 1-0 was fouled back. The count goes to 1-1 on Bell. Wheaton on the mound looking to keep the deficit at 3. That's not in there. There's the count to 2-1 on Bell.
I'm not sure what pitch that is. It's a slider maybe, but like not a lot of spin.
Sometimes it comes
a
out
gyro
flatter
slider
than others.
sort of thing, yeah. I like to leave the analytics and just to the people who actually know about it, AKA not me.
2-1. That's low. The count goes to 3-1.
Were you a big analytics guy when you pitched?
Not at all.
No?
Just wouldn't worry about the track man, anything like that. Just go out there and throw.
It's 2 schools of thought in baseball nowadays.
Yeah, it's a very different world than it once was. The 3-1, big swing, but Bell fouls it back. The count goes full.
I think you need a mix of both because people talk about like the eye test, right?
Yep.
Which I think still has value because if you see a guy swing a baseball bat, or you see a guy field a grounder, you can say, okay, this guy's pretty good. He's an athlete. But then I think you also need to delve into the numbers, which is some people are on the other side or on the extreme sides of both.
The 3-2 line right at the shortstop King for out number 1. 92 off the bat from Bell, but directly into the mitt of Trey King.
Just like I said earlier in the at-bat, the hard hit balls have been there for Bell, just didn't come through and find a friendly spot on the ground. So King really didn't have to move all that much. That was kind of just right at him.
Top of the order back up. It's Michael O'Brien for the 4th time tonight. O'Brien has a hit tonight. It was a bunt single in the 2nd. Wheaton on the mound with nobody on, works from the stretch.
Not too long of a break between appearances for Wheaton either, which is good for him.
On the ground to 2nd. Kirtley there. On to 1st for out number 2.
Nice smooth fielding from Kirtley, who's made a couple of solid plays and gotten the ball out quick. That's good, especially when your pitcher is able to induce ground balls and just make it easy for you as an infielder. It's helpful.
And you talk about those quick breaks in between appearances for Wheaton. That's because Nick Lops and Josh Guptill, the Mainers pitching coach, trust him. They were impressed with how he looked in his first outing and got him back out here in a spot where the Mainers trying to fight back in the game.
Yeah, only what? He pitched against Newport on the 23rd, so that
was Monday.
So yeah, about five days of rest, which is usually what a starter gets. And with how deep bullpens can be in summer ball, then sometimes certain relievers will pitch less often than that, but it's good.
Jack Herring at the plate drives this one deep to left center. Toomey ranges over. He can't get there. It's off the wall. Herring will head into 2nd, and he's on with his 3rd double of the night.
Just insane from Jack Herring. 94 off the barrel, a center cut pitch, a center cut fastball that Herring is a hitter who is going to be all over that almost every time. And we've seen this movie before in the 1st inning. Xavier Perez to the plate now.
Back in the 1st, Herring doubled to that same left center gap. We just saw him go to there, and now in that 1st inning, Perez came up, belted a 2-run homer. Also has a solo shot in the third. Last time at the plate, he grounded out to short.
Perez.
We have a problem with Cole McGinnis's glove out there.
Does he need a... Well, maybe they're bringing out the trainer.
We are going to call out the trainer.
Oh. That's never fun to see. Well, maybe they won't. Okay, he'll sit back down. That's good to see.
Haven't seen something like this before.
Yeah.
Mainers pitching coach Josh Guptill is signaling down to the bullpen right now, and he's trying to get somebody going, but you could hear him say, I don't know what's going on.
See, our producer says that he's got like a bloody thumb on his knuckle or something, maybe? I don't know. Yeah.
It is on his...
yeah, wow. Oh, my goodness.
You can see it from here. It is on his pitching hand.
Ouch.
Haven't seen that before.
I don't know how that happened.
Could have been a problem where maybe Wheaton had a existing blister in a certain spot and then aggravated it on the last pitch.
Jeez. Get some gauze on that, some Neosporin or whatever they do. I don't know what they do. But that's not fun.
The Mainers manager, Nick Lops, and assistant Tim Moreau are out there right now, and they're checking on Gage Wheaton. All the umpires
trying to tape
are out there, too.
Yeah. And it's a...
And that's a tough spot. Even if you're a pitcher, if it's not a career-ending injury like a blister or something, that still can set you back on the mound.
You can throw off your feel, especially when it's your pitching hand. So I guess maybe they're taping it up or something.
It is the lower part of his right thumb that is bloodied. And
we'll have a look at a more pleasant sight here as Ribby was giving some balloons to some kids. So, you know, you imagine they're going to give him some warm-up pitches, but we're going to see if he has control. There's Ribby having some fun with the fans.
And it looks like that spot that's taped up isn't on a spot where you necessarily are holding the baseball, that lower part of that thumb.
Yeah.
Use the padding at the end of your fingers for grip. Yeah. And if Wheaton knew right away he wasn't going to be able to throw, you probably would have seen him pull from the game.
He says he's good. Yep, he says he's good.
So Wheaton will stay in, but Keene got another double, the third of the night from Jack Herring.
Wow.
Top that tonight at least, and he's been fantastic so far this season. Xavier Perez at the plate. The left fielder out of Houston, 2 for 3 tonight, but those 2 hits have both left the yard.
Nobody moving in the Sanford bullpen as well, so they know he's going to finish this out.
Herring off of second, Perez at the plate. Wheaton deals and goes to the breaking ball that'll miss away for ball 1. Wheaton rolled in about a week and a half ago. Only his second appearance of the summer, the 1-0. Just misses downstairs, and at the 2-0 count, we want to be careful with a 2-0 count to Perez at the plate.
Yeah, he's been relatively effective in those sorts of hitters counts today. I would wager hit his first homer on a 3-1 count after fouling off the first pitch.
So the first one to go to right center off the barn, and the second to straightaway center. The 2-0 flown into right field. Right center make that. And Toomey there to pull it in. So this one stays in the park. And we still have a 4-1 game through 6 innings. I turn it over to Andrew Hilsman. He'll take you the rest of the way here at Alumni Field.
There's the dash in the grass, as is tradition when we head to the top of the 7th. And operations intern Brett Robinson has yet to lose this year, and we're already halfway through the season. Personally, I don't see him losing. He's just dusted those kids. However, Andrew Lapine is out on the mound, and there seems to be a balloon malfunction against a young SwampBats fan's foot, and he is just working right along.
It's always good to see families, and especially the youth, getting involved on the field. That's something
right.
that's special about summer baseball.
Community aspect.
At the end of the day, it is a lot of good ball players here. Guys are working in the summer, but it does really bring communities together, and it's a great family-friendly event.
And you think about on Thursday for when you'll be back here for Independence Eve, which is the SwampBats' big celebration, Keene's really big celebration before July 4th, the biggest fireworks show in Keene. The only big fireworks show in Keene is set them up on Alumni Field 2 just behind us, and it's, from what I have heard, it is not just a couple of it's a full-on fireworks show that's worth the price of admission.
Yeah, you should expect this place to be packed out.
Oh yes,
it's packed on a lot of nights, but especially on July 3rd here in Keene, one of the coolest games around the league.
So Lapine stays out there after a successful first inning where he stranded 2, and a first pitch is outside to the 9-hole hitter Brian Connolly. He's 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts.
Being really effective, especially striking out Kirtley to end last inning. That was a big switch in momentum, and I know if this score holds that it is what Nick Lops is going to say to me after the game. Runners left on base.
Yeah. 1-1 is just off the inside part of the plate. Attendance number for tonight is 3,240 SwampBat fans through the door, so that's a pretty solid number.
Not bad at all. You got them pretty much from each foul pole to each foul pole.
Herring has a beat on it, has to move, sliding catch, but he boots it away. An unfortunate mistake, but that's one that he had to run quite a ways for. So on base for the first time today is Brian Connolly.
Yeah, that was a tough one in right field, especially getting into that twilight setting right now. Herring initially broke back on it, even though it was a blooper out in front of him. Almost made a heck of a catch, but
that'll be called a single.
That's tough sliding feet first to make that play.
I think that's the correct call. I don't think that's an error.
Definitely. Yeah, anytime you got to lay out, go to the ground, and don't make the play, that's going to go down as a hit.
First pitch called a strike to Trey King, who's responsible for the only Mainers home run and run of the day. He popped a 2-out solo homer in the 3rd off of Ben Rabatin. And he does not go around there on that check swing. 1-1. Andrew Hillsman here with Jackson Walsh. And Jackson, it's been a fun one. We've had quite the day. We've been delivered some free cake. We've seen some great baseball. It's been an all-around pretty solid day at the park.
It has been a great day, and I'm ecstatic to be here too. I woke up this morning and the weather was a little different back in southern Maine than it was here.
Yeah.
Saw some rain up there, colder temperatures. Worried about not getting this game in, but perfect baseball weather here.
As they say he swung, so it ended up, I think, hitting his pad, but it's a strike.
Yeah, I think it got right around the knob of the bat.
Yeah, maybe
check
it was that.
swing.
Well, we've been confused by that once today, so 2-2 on its way from Lapine. Just outside, runs it full. So Lapine, another 3-2 count. He hit a batter and then allowed a single, and then retired the next 3 Mainers in the top of the 6th. In the top of the 7th in a 4-1 ball game. That one's low and away for ball 4.
It's now the 3rd inning tonight where the Mainers are going to have runners on 1st and 2nd and no outs. Failed to score runs in the 4th and in the 6th when they had that same situation. You got to crack through here. You're trailing by 3. Took a shot in the mouth in the 1st inning on the 3 spot thanks to a 2-run homer and then an RBI single. But your pitching's been great after that. You've only allowed 1 run, and it was on a solo shot in the 3rd. It was Perez's 2nd blast. But other than that, we've had a pitcher's duel, and you got a really good bat in Sensei coming to the plate. Runners on 1st and 2nd. This is the inning you got to strike or at least start to fight back if you're Sanford.
Yeah, and the idea is to let Lapine stay out there for a little longer, as it looks to me Like Ben Dean is warming up for the SwampBats in their bullpen down the right field line. Steven Bangs walks off, and Keene has thrown a couple of guys, their starter, and then Dean with a lot of velocity. There's a swing and a miss on the first pitch from Lapine, makes it 0-1 to the two-hole hitter Sensai.
It's a tough pitch to hit from that arm slot.
It is.
A really good one. Great bounce back after the walk.
0-1 to Sensai, the first baseman.
Gonna be trouble.
Reese is gonna have to make a good play, and he ranges back, runs his route like a wide receiver, and makes the catch for out number 1.
It was a really good play. I thought off the bat it was gonna have a chance to squeak over his head and
right no
down
man's
for a
land
base
here.
hit.
Yeah, good read by Reese, who's not an everyday guy, but that's a nice play, and turns right back around, make sure nobody's running on him. That's that catcher instincts. Make sure nobody takes any bases off of him. And Reese listed as a catcher, but he can really play anywhere. There's now 1 away here in the top of the 7th, and Sanford as a team has struggled when it comes to hitting with runners in scoring position. 209 on the year in the batting average column. 0-1 in the dirt, that's ball 1.
In every inning, it's been first and second, no outs. They've gone down quietly with that guy that comes up with a strikeout, a couple of infield pop-ups. We just saw one there on the play from Reese. That's been the problem. You get first and second, no outs, but you don't come up big with a response on that batter next up.
There's a called strike, 1-2. Yeah, we saw the same thing happen in the 4th, where Jack Toomey reached on a walk. Kellen Strohmeyer reached on a walk, but he got caught stealing at second for the first out, and then Jenkins and McGinnis both went down on strikes to end the inning. 1-2 on its way from Lapine. That one runs inside and hits him in the arm. So that will load the bases with 1 away.
It just yanked out of the hand and was sailing up and inside, and it looks like that's going to be the end of the night for
Yes,
Lapine.
I think it will be. They'll make the call to the bullpen as Ben Dean, the right-hander from Swansea, so not too far away from Keene, will make another appearance here at Alumni Field on the other side of this break. Bats lead 4-1.
Please, my pitchers and SwampBats from the University of Dayton and Swansea, New Hampshire. 9, 10, Keene.
The bases are loaded, and the new pitcher is Ben Dean, who played 2025 at the University of Dayton. And Jackson, you being a former pitcher, you played for the Mainers last year. Not sure if it ever happened to you, but I'm sure it did at some point. What's the mindset for a pitcher when you come in with the bases loaded and you inherit a tough situation with like 1 out and really in a favor for the other team?
Yeah, in a spot like this, it's only a 3-run game, so you don't really want to afford to give up a run on a sac fly or any other type of context. So you got to think double play or strikeout when there's less than 2 outs, bases are loaded. Double play or strikeout, so stay low in the zone. Try to get somebody to roll over, just hit something hard on the ground. It's all right if they barrel it up, but if it's low in the zone, it's going to be tough for them to really lift that ball, and a double play is a pitcher's dream in this situation.
Ben Dean has been really good statistic-wise. He's 2 wins, no losses in 4 appearances this year, 7 1/3 innings pitched with 1.22 ERA, struck out 10 and only walked 5, and only allowed 2 hits. So he's been pretty solid. Most recent appearance, he went an inning and a third against North Shore in that walk-off win that the SwampBats had, allowed a run that was earned and allowed to hit 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. That was 4 days ago. That was on Tuesday here.
It's a big spot here, and what makes this test even larger than the situation at hand is that you got the Maynard's 4-hitter up, Jack Toomey, coming to the plate.
Yep.
Doesn't have a hit tonight, but is a guy that has some pop, already has 1 homer this year, and you never know with a park like Alumni Field when it can leave the yard.
That's right. Winning or go-ahead run at the plate at the moment will be Jack Toomey, who has hit 1 home run and has driven in 12 on the year. A bases clearing hit would tie the game at 4. So a high leverage situation for the hard-throwing 6'3" right-hander and New Hampshire's own Ben Dean to come into this game. So the first pitch to the right-handed hitter Toomey is inside at 94.
Biggest thing is, too, you don't want to allow a free pass, because that doesn't
yep.
do anything, because that gets a run in, just moves everybody up a base, and you still got Strohmeyer waiting on deck.
1-0 to Toomey. That one's there for a strike. Catches that high inside corner. Tough for a hitter to get the barrel towards it. 1-0 and 1-1 count now in a 4-1 game. Keene has the lead. Here's the 1-1. That one's low. 95 that time.
They can bring it, but it doesn't matter. If you bring it, you got to be in the strike zone.
That's right.
These guys have seen velocity. Toomey's an ACC bat. 95's not going to phase him. You got to keep it around the strike zone to be effective.
2-1, see if Dean can challenge. There's a fastball. That's the lower half of the zone. Catches it at 94.
At 94 at that spot of the zone.
You're not getting to it.
That's going to work.
No. Yeah, right at the bottom of the zone, a perfectly painted strike. Runs it to 2-2. Bases loaded. Dean from the stretch kicks and deals. Goes with the breaking ball, and Toomey does a good job to lay off of it in the dirt. So 3-2 with 1 away, and a walk would make this a 2-run game.
I was just going to say, what a take.
Now, that
for Jack Toomey with 2 strikes. He hasn't
saw only fastballs.
He hasn't, exactly. That's what I was just going to say.
3-2. Ground ball, Bell, Reese, over to first, double play. And Ben Dean is fired up, as fired up can get, as he struts off the mound. Keene keeps their 3-run lead as we head to the home half of the 7th at Alumni Field. After some drama in that top of the 7th, we'll do our stretching here, and due up is 9-1-2 for the SwampBats. Same pitcher, though, as Gage Wheaton will step back out. And I'll give you the final, if you're scoring at home, the final stat line for Andrew Lapine: 1 1/3 innings pitched, 2 hits, no runs, none earned, a walk, and a strikeout in 9 batters faced. But Ben Dean, what a job to come in with the bases loaded and get 2 outs on 1 ground ball. That is a perfect scenario for the SwampBats at this point.
That's what I was saying. He needed to do ground ball, double play, or strikeout, and got himself in a bit of a tighter spot than he probably would have wanted to be a 3-2 count, but stayed the course, got the ground ball to short, and let his middle infield do the rest of the work.
That's got to be a huge confidence boost for him, too. You just think about, you know, how much the momentum and the psyche of guys can change on 1 pitch.
Yeah, and look at the other end for the Mainers. Another situation with first and second, no outs and no runs to show for it.
Yep. Mainers have left 8 runners on base today. And the 1-0 to Reese. Excuse me, it's Reese, Tupou, and Manolfi due up. Ripken Reese takes strike 1. And the 1-1 on its way from Wheaton, righty-lefty. That one's high.
Wheaton looked good last inning.
He did, yeah.
Had a bit of a moment where hope he was all right. He had a bloody thumb, but
responded to drawing out.
Kind of a weird spot
odd.
where no contact came back or anything. His lower thumb just started bleeding where he's not holding the baseball, so.
Big swing and a miss from Reese. You imagine if it was on one of the pads of his fingers where he's putting pressure on the ball, he'd probably have to come out.
And that's why it's interesting that obviously it wasn't on that pad of the finger, but interesting of why it started bleeding down there on the lower thumb, because he's not holding the baseball at that point.
You'll have to do some detective work when this game ends.
Exactly.
2-2. As Reese is sent down on strikes, he looks at one that he thought was inside, but it's right over the plate. Catches a part of the plate, and that's strike 3. So a nice off-speed pitch, looked like a splitter of some sort or a change for Wheaton.
He's trying to signal down to somebody that he thought that ball was way inside, but we've seen it called there a few times tonight, and that's a good front door breaking ball.
Yeah, the other
inside
thing,
to a lefty.
The other thing that I notice is when guys crowd the plate sometimes, they have maybe a little bit of a different perspective of what's inside, what's not. But the plate doesn't move regardless of where the hitter is.
Yeah, on that one, you just got to tip your cap to Gage Wheaton. That's a
good
really
pitch.
good pitch.
This brings up Chandler Tupou, the lefty first baseman, who's 1 for 3. Strikeout, a pop out, and a single. Stole a bag as well. He was 1 for 3 in his last game as well. One and one to Tupou, as that's an off-speed pitch that can't catch the zone on the inside part. To the lefty hitter Tupou, and
this is a similar pitch to what we saw called strike 3 on Reese, just a little further inside this time, but Wheaton's still trying to work that inside corner.
And it looks like the lefty catcher Cole McGinnis is going to come out and talk to him.
Yeah, you saw Wheaton. I don't know if we had it on your shot back home, but I saw him point to his eyes and kind of shake. He's having trouble seeing the signs from McGinnis while it's dark out.
Yeah, I mean, it can be tough, especially when there's a bunch of shadows with everybody near the plate.
Seen that happen a couple times for Mainers pitchers where they've had some trouble seeing the signs at night, and that's where McGinnis here, can't see him in the shot, but going to those touch signs, touching his mask, his shin guards, his chest.
2-1 on its way to Tupou as he swings and misses. Tips it back into the catcher's mitt for strike 2. Good pitch to swing at.
We'll see if we can get a shot of it here, of the touch signs behind home plate.
Tupou lines himself up again. 2 balls, 2 strikes to the SwampBats first baseman. And delivery. That's in the dirt. Good take. 3-2.
Said it earlier, but Sanford pitching has been good tonight, minus that first inning from Mucciarone where you let up 3 runs on the 2-run homer and then the single. It's been fantastic.
3-2. Runs inside. He avoids it, and he'll draw a 1-out walk. Yeah, you mentioned it. Based on the numbers, ERA-wise, Sanford came into this game as a staff ERA of 4.66, which is 9th in the NACBL.
And the league pitching has been good this year,
It has,
a 4.6 for a team ERA is not bad at all.
No, it's not. But yeah, Keene, you look at them, they're second coming into this one with a 3.48. Earned run average as a staff. And here's Ty Manolfi, who's got an RBI, and he's 1 for 2 with a hit by pitch today. He'll squirt a bunt, but pull it back and take a ball.
Just like Michael O'Brien, Manolfi played a big part of Keene's win at Sanford last time out. Manolfi had 3 hits of his own. He was batting 9th in that game, but in the 6th spot tonight.
Ball and no strikes. Manolfi runs inside, and he has to kind of duck out of the way with his midsection to avoid. But a really solid hitting day for the SwampBats. They haven't scored since the 3rd, but Nobody's scored since the third. They've been able to have some doubles off the bat of Jack Herring. 3 of those. 2-0 to Manolfi as he swings and laces this one down the third base line. It'll land foul. But a well-hit ball, just a little bit late on the timing.
You could see on that swing, he kind of just threw the bat out there. He realized it was going to be in the strike zone, trying to put it in play. And you see lefties do that sometimes, try to just slap it the other way, but it's a little too late and a little too handsy with the swing that time.
2-1. Crowd starting to rally around Manolfi as he will wave through that one. It's 2-2 rather. Or now it makes it 2-2. I think it feels like Keene has been doing a really good job of getting into hitters' counts all night.
The approach has been really good from Keene, and that's why you have the 9 hits, only 4 runs to show for it, but we've seen a lot of hard hit balls throughout that the Sanford pitching has just responded well to limit the damage.
2-2 and a nice take from Ty Manolfi. That'll make it a full count. Wonder if they put Tupou in motion, who's, I guess he's a first baseman, but he's stolen a couple of bags. He's got 4 stolen bags on the season.
Already has one tonight too.
Not taking the biggest lead at the moment, but he's jumping around. They won't send him. 3-1 or 3-2 is inside, so 2 consecutive walks drawn by the SwampBats hitters.
It's just pulling that fastball inside a little bit. We've seen him place the breaking ball inside, but it's just a fastball yanked, and Josh Guptill, the Mainers pitching coach, will head out to talk to Wheaton. There is action in the Mainers bullpen. A righty up for Sanford. It looks like that's Drew Smith or Nathan Teague out there for Sanford.
Yeah, but nobody ready to go yet.
That is Nathan Teague out of Vanderbilt, warming up for the Mainers.
Yeah, 6'7", 230-pound righty. I gotta imagine he's a pretty hard thrower.
He is. He can bring it with a fastball. Has 2 appearances so far. First one he got roughed up in a little bit, but command was the issue. Responded well though. Second appearance, 2 scoreless against Newport. That was last Monday. Same time Gage Wheaton made his Mainers debut.
Was Wheaton a late arrival?
He was.
No. That's the fun part. These teams kind of vary and mutate more than you might think. Here's Nick Romano, who's 0 for 1 with a walk and a hit by pitch. But he hasn't been further than first base at any point today.
It's a spot where Keene, with a couple of runs, could really put this game out of reach and just take the momentum and run with it.
It seems like they've got the momentum at the moment. 1-0 on its way from Wheaton. The dirt, nice block from McGinnis.
Just losing command of the fastball right now. Back-to-back walks, 2-0 on Manolfi.
As a reliever, he's thrown over 30 pitches, so especially for a guy who usually is a short reliever. 2-0. Romano a little late on that one.
That's good to see. They're back right around the strike zone and just beat Manolfi with the fastball.
Yeah. So 2 on with 1 out in the home half of the 7th here at Alumni Field. A game that had rain forecasted for it, but has really just been a beautiful day at the ballpark. 2-1. That's just off the outside half and a nice eye from Romano, the veteran. Romano, a returner from last year, he was top 5 in batting average amongst those who were qualified for the SwampBats in 2024. Hit 280 last year. Came in this game at 261. Here's the 3-1 as that one runs inside, and he'll take a walk. So now the bases are loaded, and I have to imagine that Sanford is going to want to check to their bullpen relatively soon.
And we'll see if Nick Lops appears from below us shortly after 3 consecutive free passes.
Yes,
I think
he will.
would, and here comes Lops to make the change.
So after 3 consecutive walks, like you mentioned, it's like TJ Schuyler will have to wait a little bit for his at-bat, as this will be the end of the day for Gage Wheaton. We'll see who the new arm is on the mound for Sanford when we come back. Keene leads 4-1, and they're threatening with only 1 away in the 7th.
Attention everybody, if you have any loose trash that you're looking to throw out.
New pitcher for the Mainers as they trail by 3 with the bases loaded and 1 away. In the bottom of the 7th, it's number 36, Nathan Teague, a rising junior from Vanderbilt, 6'7" and 230 pounds, originally from North Carolina. What do we know about him?
Talked about him a little bit when he was out there in the bullpen. 2 appearances so far. Late arrival was with Vanderbilt at regionals, but bounce back. That's the big story. Guys bouncing back after tough outings. Struggled his first time out against Vermont. Some walks, some hit by pitches, led to some wild pitches mixed in there, but looked good. 2 scoreless at Newport, against Newport on Monday. But he was a really talented arm back in high school, ranked extremely high by Perfect Game in North Carolina, especially throughout the country. He was well ranked and obviously good enough to go play for Tim Corbin at Vanderbilt.
Yeah, that's a coach that I think every high schooler has their eyes on. You want to go play with the Vandy boys, and Tim Corbin, one of the more legendary coaches in all of college baseball. I look at him, he's 6'7", but just a release that I think surprises guys because it's pretty loopy, and then he lets it zip.
It does. That's exactly what it does. Surprise you, Andrew, because you're expecting a max effort,
hard throwing 95
coming down the mound at you, but still effective because he's just so big. He generates so much force, especially in his lower half, and he can bring it with the fastball and his slider. Not half bad either.
You gotta imagine he extends down the mound pretty far as well. Just with that sort of height.
It's a big spot for him. First time he's made an appearance this year that wasn't the start of an inning. Comes in a jam with just 1 down. Bases loaded. Team's already trailing by 3. You got to come up big.
So Wheatonsdale will be done at 1 1/3 inning. You mentioned 1 out as he sent Ripken Reese down looking earlier in this inning. Fresh count to TJ Schuyler, who is hitless today with 3 strikeouts. As that one, whoa, heads up, runs inside, and that means Chandler Tupou will come home to score on a wild pitch. The first offering as Schuyler had to duck out of the way, and Tupou with some more heads up base running. Now the SwampBats lead 5-1.
There's the command that he struggled with the first game. The fastball up and in wasn't an egregious mix. It just popped out of McGinnis's glove behind the plate and had so much velo on it. When it popped out, it got far enough away to allow Tupou to score.
So now Romano moves to second as that one's grounded foul to the left side, and Manolfi stands in at third. 1-1. Here's a man from Indiana, TJ Schuyler. He's a pitcher in high school, he played pretty much every position in high school. And didn't see a ton of time his freshman year at Indiana, but then got thrust into the starting regular lineup because this one's hit down the left field line. That'll get past the third baseman, Connolly. They'll send Romano home, and it'll be a 2 RBI single for TJ Schuyler as he drives in his 2nd and 3rd runs of the year, and the Bats lead by 6. It's 7-1.
Good swing in a big spot for your team, and this is that inning I talked about where Keene could open it up, and that's a tough play at third for Connolly. There's only 65 off the bat, but first glance, it looked like a line drive, so he kind of just froze and realized it was actually going to be at his feet instead of a line drive at his chest, and just couldn't react in time to get the glove down. Those are scary. It's just because you think you have a hot shot coming right at you, then it dies down. You have those on the mound, too.
Yeah.
But Keene looking good right now with a 6-run lead.
Yep. Andrew Bell offers at the first, or rather the 3rd pitch to him, and rather no, that is the first. They changed the, unless we were just talking so long that I didn't realize that there were a couple of pitches.
You had it, first pitch.
Okay. So I think it is 0-0. Yep, there it is. 0-1 rather. As he waves at strike 2, and Schuyler sort of stunted towards second base, but I don't think he's actually going to go here unless they want to put on a hit and run, which Keene has done successfully a couple of times this year.
If you can execute the little things like that, that's going to make you a really good ball club, and that's why Keene's 15-4.
Yep. See if they try and go after it here with 1 away. Long pause from the pitcher Teague, and there's strike 3 right down the pipe at Andrew Bell, and he will go down. That's Teague's first strikeout.
Good to see 3 consecutive pitches all in the strike zone from Teague. It's tough to hit when he's around the zone. could see there, Bell going down on strikes, wasn't ready for that fastball.
Yep, 7 strikeouts as a staff for Sanford today. 5 by their starter Mucciarone, and then 1 by Wheaton, now 1 by Teague. As O'Brien looks at strike 1. Started the hands, but it didn't matter. O'Brien just committed to the University of Arkansas Little Rock a couple of weeks back. And now it's 0-1 to the lefty batter that stand in. Skyler takes a secondary as that one sails away, and I guess that was a foul ball. Yeah.
Yep. Started the check swing, just grazed his bat.
I'm gonna say it doesn't. McGinnis is not a guy who's just gonna let that fly by him. Definitely a foul ball. 0-2 with 2 away with Skyler on first. SwampBats looking to add to their 6-run lead. Righty-lefty matchup. Here comes Teague. That's high and ball 1. He had a grunt into that one, got it up to 91.
Just talked about O'Brien at the plate committing to Arkansas Little Rock. That's what a good run in the NCAA tournament is going to do for a mid to low major team like that. You've seen a lot of guys that were Power 5 committing to Murray State who went all the way to the World Series. Little Rock took LSU to a deciding game at the regional in Baton Rouge.
Fantastic.
LSU won it all.
Swing and a miss, and O'Brien goes down on strikes for out number 3. So we head to the top half of the 8th. We'll see if Ben Dean trots back out. Oh, yes, he will. With a newfound 6-run lead, Dean will head back out, and SwampBats would definitely prefer if he can stay through the end of this game. Top half of the 8th when we come back. Keene leads 7-1. A 6-run cushion on a really complete offensive day for the SwampBats. Keene in the standings, they're 10-0 at home in home games, but they've lost only 1 game, 11-1 when playing at Alumni Field this season, and trying to make it 12-1 at their home stadium here in 2025. It's been a really fantastic start to the year for the SwampBats, and they're not showing any signs of slowing down. Of course, you know, there was the thought, I think, in everybody's mind when that win streak was going on, okay, how long can this last? And obviously it wasn't going to go for forever, but 11 in a row is pretty significant.
And that comes up in a situation, obviously really cool, snap off a win streak like that. You don't want to peak too early. So
exactly.
I'm not saying you have to win 11, 12 straight games again to be a good team. If you're going
2 for 1, 3 for 1.
Exactly. Yep. If you look on the NECBL website at the standings, they list the last 10. If you're consistently 7-3, 8-2, you can even go one 10-game stretch, 6-4. You're going to be around the top of the standings.
Be all right.
If you're just joining this game, look at the scoreboard, 7-1. That doesn't really tell the story.
No, it doesn't.
Sanford just had bases loaded last inning, 1 out, and it was 4-1. And then Dean came in and came up clutch to get a double play.
Well, you talk about momentum, and I think that just Dean getting out of that jam helped the SwampBats offense. They were energized, they were ready to get going, and drew some walks and then scored on a wild pitch, and then the 2 RBI single from the catcher TJ Skyler. So just when everything comes together, but I think the real catalyst there was absolutely Ben Dean.
It was. That really jump-started it, and then if you flip back on the defensive side of the baseball for Sanford, that's kind of that sloppy big inning is play here.
Up, yeah, fair territory. Skyler's going to range after it. Tough play. He falls over. He can't make the catch.
Can always tell right away when it's going to be a tough play the way the catcher is running after it.
So much spin on that ball, too.
He didn't make contact with that until it was around waist level, and that makes it even tougher. When you're a catcher on that pop-up, to have the best success, you got to go straight above your head, camp under it, and try to squeeze it with two hands because it'll pop out easily of that mitt.
So this is Kellen Strohmeyer as he waves at strike 3. Down he goes. There's the first strikeout of the day for Ben Dean. And Strohmeyer, a day to forget, 2 walks, and or not exactly a day to forget. He's actually continued. I was misread. I was looking at Jenkins, but Strohmeyer had a good day. 2 walks, a single. That's his only strikeout. Jenkins, he's 0 for 3 and 0 for 7 in his last 7 ABs.
And he's still working his way back into it. Jenkins coming off that hamstring injury, sat out for a little over a week.
Especially, especially when you come into summer role, you think you're going to play almost every day. That can throw a guy off.
And he was at first. He started to get into a groove a little bit, and then when you take that long off of live pitching, it's tough to get right back into it immediately.
It's a nice take from Jenkins. The eye at the plate is still there. Haven't seen any plays in left field today. He's had a pretty quiet day defensively, it feels like. 1-1 from Dean, off-speed pitch, and he's early on it. 1-2.
It's a plus breaking ball. It looked like a
sure is.
Fastball top of the zone most of the way there and then just disappeared.
1-2, 1 away. Back up the middle for a base hit. Nice contact off the barrel for Luke Jenkins. That's his first hit in the last 2 games. So that's a good sign for him.
That's how you get back in the groove. The fundamental approach.
Oh,
You just got a really good breaking ball, and then you sit back on one, got the fastball, and just line drive right back up the middle. Now you're on first base, and maybe start chipping away at this thing. It's only a 6-run game. You got 5 outs to play with. Crazier things have happened.
That's true. We've seen no shortage of surprises and excitement here at Alumni Field. As Jenkins leads off of first. First pitch is there for a strike to Cole McGinnis. 94 miles an hour on Ben Dean. Oh no, we've lost a balloon in the night sky. Wow. There's a lot of balloons today because of the Savings Bank of Walpole anniversary celebration. So the balloons are coming out in full force, but one is going to be having a high ride to who knows where today. 1-1, that's a strike.
It's Cole walking in here, seeing everything going on down the third base line in that empty field we have.
Yeah, tents and tables and sponsor events, more than you could ask for. Fun day overall at the ballpark, and SwampBats are delivering for their fans right now. That's a slider that's down and away. I was talking about before you went to that shot of the balloon that was leaving this world, just how much, ride that Ben Dean's fastball has on it. It's tough for guys to pick out.
Yeah, it's one of the best in the league in the mid-90s, and it just stays up there, especially when you have that to go with it.
That helps too. Called strike 3, that's 2 Ks, and the first backwards K for Ben Dean today. And wow, what efficient pitching, that breaking ball. And that was just as you draw it up.
That's called pitching.
Oh yeah.
Right there. That's a guy that's a legit arm, mid-90s, with one of the best breaking balls I've seen this entire summer.
You see the expression, a live arm. There's a strike. I feel like this is defined as a pretty live arm.
I would say it's one of the most impressive arms I've seen around the league the last few years right now at a Dean.
Dean currently in the transfer portal, played his last season at Dayton. 0-1 is a strike, 93 that time. Really working the top half of the zone in this at-bat.
And he has that velo. He's just consistently pounding the strike zone, too. That's going to help when you're around the zone and can dot inside, outside, and get swings and misses.
Currently trying to avoid the golden sombrero. And he looks at a slider down and away. He's already struck out swinging twice and looking once. And 1-2 on its way from Ben Dean. Kicks and delivers. Called strike 3. Down he goes. 3 Ks for Ben Dean in the 8th. And the SwampBats still lead by 6. When we head to the bottom of the 8th here at Alumni Field.
Quiros drills it to right field, and it is gone.
Two, 3, 4, 2 up for the SwampBats. It's Herring, Perez, and Ripken Reese. But first, a new pitcher, the first lefty that the Mainers have trotted out there, and it's Brendan Lysick, who's currently in the portal but played last year at Texas Tech.
This is Lysick's first appearance of the summer for Sanford, as the guy's still getting some work early on, and just listed as portal on the NECBL roster. Don't see that a lot. Guy out of Texas Tech, but does have some pretty high-level summer ball experience, even some New England League experience. You're going to have to go all the way back to 2022, pitched for Valley, and then 2 summers ago in the Cape Cod League, pitched for Brewster, 7 games for the Whitecaps, 12 innings. Didn't get work at Texas Tech this spring, but in 2024 saw action in 17 games, 14 innings, and trying to keep this ball game where it is in the 8th.
So the final stat line for Nathan Teague, 2/3 of an inning pitched, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts. So Teague not too shabby. I think they want to rest him for a bigger situation later, maybe tomorrow. Do you guys play tomorrow?
Off tomorrow.
Day? Okay, so maybe later in the week.
A big home stretch coming up.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe we'll see him back here on Thursday. And warming up is Todd Knibbe. They may have him come in and just get some reps in the 9th inning, even if it's not a save situation. Another live arm is absolutely Todd Knibbe. In summer ball, if this were, college ball or professional ball, you wouldn't throw your closer, but get him some reps.
Yeah, you never want to have a guy go too long without getting live action, because it's a new kind of experience where every guy is going to get some work at some point. It's not like you're going to stick to 4, 5, 6 arms out of the bullpen you're going to rely on every single weekend. Everyone is here because they're talented, and they've played a big role at their schools. Some guys are in the portal. They need work, so you don't want to rest a guy for too long, get him out of his rhythm, especially somebody that's been throwing really well so far in the summer.
When you talk about rhythm, when pitchers I think are sometimes misunderstood in the fact that, how much does it carry over from one outing to another as a pitcher?
You're definitely feeling good, because I've had situations before where you have 2, 3, 4 scoreless appearances, and then you go out there the next time thinking you're unstoppable, and once in a while you get humbled. You get some runs hung up there on your head, you get some barrels. You're going to have tough outings at some point, but it's the best feeling in the world when you're in a groove and just so much confidence in your stuff when you go out there on the mound.
So especially when coaches are in tune with their pitchers in summer ball, that's the importance of a good coaching staff. Getting to know your guys early, and then, understanding how they're feeling, because, some guys are going to be more talkative. Some guys are going to be less open about, how they're feeling and what they're thinking when they're ready to go out there. So it's that coach's job to kind of gauge where everybody's at. Would be my guess.
And that's what Mainers pitching coach Josh Guptill says. He sees himself as a pitching facilitator here in the summer.
3-1. Herring, the batter, who has 3 for 4. 3 similar at-bats. One is not like the other. 3 doubles, and he scored a run, but he's also grounded into a double play. That was all the way back in the 2nd. 3-1 to Herring, and he looks at ball 4. That's high. So brings up Xavier Perez, who has been very effective today. Perez has been effective at the plate, 2 home runs. He's 2 for 4. And Herring leads off of first. There's a ball, that's low. Nope. 2-0, grounded to the third base side. It'll sneak foul as Connolly moved over to make that play.
That's exactly what Lysick has to do, challenge hitters. Almost got Perez to roll over. Would have been a for sure ground out. Just snuck on the outside part of the bag.
2-1 now to Perez, who in hitters counts today has been pretty dangerous. Runner Herring, I don't think they'll send him. That's inside, 3-1.
It's also, for Lysick out there on the mound, you haven't seen live hitting in a while. Everyone has that adjustment period.
Yep.
You're at school pretty much facing live hitting from January up till May, sometimes till June if you got a real good team, but only his first outing of the summer. Still has to settle in a little bit.
3-1 is high, and there's another walk. Brings up Ripken Reese, who has 2 walks and has struck out once, has also grounded out once, as McGinnis will head out to talk to his pitcher. What I have heard from catchers, at least, when they go out to talk to, you know, their pitcher on the mound, sometimes it's not even about baseball. Is that true?
I haven't had a situation like that, but I have heard of it before, especially if the catcher knows that his pitcher is a guy that can take that and not have to be super, obviously you're locked in out there, but not be super serious where you can take a moment to take a break, maybe chuckle a little bit. Catcher's just trying to settle his guy down in that situation. He knows he doesn't have his best stuff, fastball missing around the zone, but he's got to get back in the zone here. They have a force out at every base but home with runners on first and second.
Fresh count to Ripken Reese. And here's the pitch. It's an off-speed pitch high, a lefty slider that if you leave it at the top of the zone, to a righty hitter can barrel it up. He's got a chance to do some damage.
It is dangerous, especially if a guy at the plate is thinking about or sitting on a breaking ball, then they're really ready to go for it. Sometimes a breaking ball upstairs can be effective because hitters aren't expecting that. They're sitting breaking balls down in the zone.
Because, you know, conventional wisdom thinks that, hey, you shouldn't throw breaking balls up in the zone because it's a hanger. But I guess that maybe that can be changed sometime.
There's a certain point where if it's a breaking ball above the plane of the barrel on just a normal stock swing, then it'll sneak up there. Sometimes you see a swing and a miss, guys will take it or just foul it off.
Right. Get the barrel under it. Ball to strike. On second is Herring, and on first is Xavier Perez. That one's low, ball 2. Nothing happening in the Sanford bullpen right now. Two and 1. Stands have thinned out a little bit, but very successful night at the ballpark. The attendance was 3,240 today as Ripken Reese swings and misses, makes it 2-2.
Just what an atmosphere here at first pitch. It was perfect night for a summer baseball game in New England.
Yeah, great weather, which, you know, sometimes, especially earlier in the season, has been hard to come by for a lot of teams in this region. We had some weird weather towards the start of the year, but it's been nice the last couple of weeks. 2-2 on the way to the hitter is Reese, and it runs it full.
Yeah, most of the league opened up on June 3rd, but Sanford didn't play their first game until June 8th in Montpelier. It was a weird delay for the team. Didn't really have a formal practice. Some guys would go to an indoor facility, get some swings, but definitely a new spot for Nick Lops in his 6th year with the team.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Fouled back off. We'll try again with a full count. Doesn't look like Todd Knibbie is up and throwing anymore. I'm not really sure what's going on in the bullpen down there, but I think they're maybe messing around with Mikey Fernandez's hat. Who knows? There's a lot of mosquitoes down there, so maybe they're whacking away bugs.
You're right there along the woods.
Oh, yeah. And there's a swamp over there, too, so standing water. Big breeding ground for mosquitoes. There's a swing and a miss on a breaking ball. Nice pitch. First strikeout of the day for Lysick after a couple of walks.
They look good in that at-bat. Reese staying around the zone. Still worked at 3-2, but good 3-2 breaking ball downstairs. And you're confident in your off-speed stuff at a 3-ball count, whether it's 3-2, 3-1, and you're going to have success on the mound.
So a fresh count, and it's a lefty-lefty matchup to Chandler Tupou. Came into this game hitting .238 with 10 runs batted in. Stated that same, he hasn't driven one in, but he has scored as that runs inside, and that'll hit him in the elbow guard as that loads the bags. So he'll wear it, and we'll bring up Ty Manolfi.
It looked like
Rather no. They're going to bring in Gabe Pitts. They're going to give Ty Manolfi a rest. As late in the game, low leverage situation, get Pitts some reps.
That last pitch, Lysick went back to the off-speed. That time it just backed up on him a little bit, and when you have a lefty-lefty breaking ball back up on you, it's probably going to result in a hit by pitch like we saw there.
That's why all these guys wear the elbow guards nowadays, because it's not fun to get hit by baseballs. So Gabe Pitts as a righty. I don't know if it's a matchup-based thing, but Manolfi has been hitting really well. Pitts still looking for his first homer of the year. He's been telling me, he was really close yesterday in the first game, but had a fly ball that died at the warning track. First pitch, a strike to the outfielder from Central Connecticut State. He's been telling me, man, I just gotta get one, gotta get a home run. He's got the pop, just has not put it together just yet. Be a fun time for him to send one out. Stands ready, bases are loaded, 0-1. That's low. Keene has had one of the more entertaining starts to a year with that win streak, and Gabe Pitts trying to help his team along. They already lead by 6 as he takes strike 2.
For Lysick on the mound, once again, this is his first outing of the summer.
Yeah.
This would be big for confidence if you can get out of this without allowing any runs. Maybe get a double play here on the 1-2 count.
Yep. Double play would end the inning and keep the runs at bay. And a 1-2. That's in the dirt. Really nice block by McGinnis to keep that in front of him, and that saved at least a run.
He's been solid behind the dish all night. Had one instance where first pitch we saw from Nathan Teague popped out of his glove, but that was upstairs. A tough pitch to hold on to, resulted in a run back in that hectic bottom of the 7th. But other than that, Cole has looked fantastic at the plate.
Yeah. Hits in a 2-2 count with 1 away, or in the 8th. As he looks at that, runs it full. Walk would put across the 8th run of the game. They're trying to rally around Pitts. Still a good number of people who have stayed and will stay until the end of this one. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Pitch on its way to Pitts. And that's ball 4. 8-1 the lead for the SwampBats.
This example of how free passes will hurt you on the other side of the baseball.
Looks like they'll have a little mound meeting here with the Mainers pitching coach.
Josh Guptill back out there, his second summer with Sanford.
What was it like as a pitcher working under him last year?
It was great. He's
Good.
an awesome pitching coach to have. Says all the right things. He's there to help his guys in the summer.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that knows the game well. He's been around it for a while.
Was he a former pitcher himself?
He did. He played back in college at Eastern Connecticut State.
Okay.
Guy that still will lace him up and go pitch in men's leagues around.
I like it.
Seacoast, New Hampshire, and Southern Maine.
He still has some zip on that fastball?
I haven't seen it in person yet,
No.
but I think so, coming from the left side.
Maybe he's a knuckleballer guy. Is he a knuckleballer?
I'll have to ask him.
Pretty
he
cool.
hasn't gone there yet. I think he probably would have led with that, talking to me about his pitching. But
Yeah, I bet you would know that by now if
maybe
he were.
maybe he'd still come with the off speed.
Yeah.
Junk baller.
You ever tried throwing a knuckleball?
I haven't catch play it. Been pretty good at having spin on it rather than
So that's
the knuckle.
Yeah, that's usually not what I think we're going for. There's a couple of the operations interns here with Keene who have nasty knuckleballs. Like it's pretty impressive. I've never been able to figure it out. Nothing one to Nick Romano. That's high ball one.
Yeah, to get it to have next to no spin on it, it's more of a push than a traditional throw.
Which is so weird because you still have to have the arm action, I feel like, of a regular, like, if you ever watched like a slow motion of R.A. Dickey pitch. Used that pitch and won the Cy Young in, what was that, 2015, I want to say?
Yeah, back around there, 15, 16, definitely. But that's why you've seen it die out a little more in the game, obviously. Not a lot in the big leagues, if any, at this point.
Right.
And the downside to it, if you're not on that night, then you're throwing BP up.
Right. You're throwing cookies. It's going to be, free cake. That one gets by, and that'll score another run as Xavier Perez jogs home. It's 9-1 in favor of the SwampBats. On the wild pitch. Tupou moves to third, and Pitts will head to second.
Action out there in left field. Down at the Mainers bullpen. Looks like that's Connor Torriello maybe getting loose, or Josh Kopetsky. Tough angle here through the window at Alumni Field, but one of the two lefties.
Looks like number 13.
Yep, that is Josh Kopetsky.
There you go. There's a foul ball to the right side, and Romano at this point, you can probably start swinging the bat. See what happens. Head to the top of the ninth. I don't know who's going to come back out and pitch for the SwampBats.
It's a situation where nobody would be warming up right now because it's been that longish inning.
As Romano goes down on strikes for out number 2. It's a really nice pitch from Lysick.
And just in general in baseball, when you're warming up out there in the bullpen and you're set to go in the next inning, don't know if that's the exact situation we have out there, but you can start throwing and realize, man, this inning is going to be a long inning. You don't want to burn your bullets out there and get tired, throw too many pitches before you go out there. You got to pace yourself and kind of read the flow of the game.
Fresh count to TJ Schuyler, who hammers one to left field. Back it goes at the wall. Gone! TJ Schuyler, his first homer of the year. And the SwampBats keep pouring it on as the man from Indiana drives in 3 in the late stages of this one. It's 12-1 Bats on a perfect Saturday night here at Alumni Field.
He was ready for it, too, and he did not get cheated. If you get it out to left field here, that's not a cheap shot. Hit that one really good out to straightaway left. You knew it off the bat.
So a TJ Schuyler home run. That's going to do some numbers for his confidence. Holy cow, that's his 5th RBI of the day. What a day for TJ Schuyler. Wow. It's hard not to get excited about that one for a guy who has had a little bit of a tough start to the summer at the plate. Regardless of whether it's a late stage of the game where the win is already, well within reach. It's good to see for the SwampBats catcher, I would say.
And you say 5 RBIs, too. That's 5 RBIs in the last 2 innings.
Yeah, that too, yeah.
He was 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts before the 7th and 8th.
So Andrew Bell is to the plate. Lefty pitcher and righty hitter as the bases are now empty. 1-1 is inside. Lysick up to 34 pitches.
Obviously not the start you want in your summer outing, but can battle back here, try to show the coaching staff something with a good response after you're hit with a little bit of adversity. But you still got to look at the fact that probably hasn't seen a live hitter in about a month at least right now, and that's hard to do as a pitcher when you're so used to throwing live facing guys day in, day out, and then all of a sudden nothing for a while, and you got to pick it back up midsummer.
3-1. Or they're 3-2. I think is what the umpire said. I want to say. 3 balls, 1 strike, it looks like on the board. Now it is 3-2, and that'll be another walk drawn by Andrew Bell. So Michael O'Brien will come to the plate, and the SwampBats will bat through here in the 8th. It's been a mammoth inning for the SwampBats in the late stages of this one. 12-1 the lead. And when you look ahead, Keene will have all the offensive confidence in the world as they head into a doubleheader at North Shore tomorrow. So early morning for us tomorrow. You guys will have the day off to reset. Ground ball to the right side. Picked up by the first baseman, Sensei, and he'll make the play to end the inning, but not before the SwampBats. They plate 5 on a home run. 3-run shot, the highlight of the inning for TJ Schuyler. We head to the top of the 9th. Keene with a comfortable lead. It's 12-1 coming into the last 3 outs of this game. All right, top of the 9th inning. New pitcher for the SwampBats is the 6'6 closer, Todd Knibbie, not in a save situation. And as you can see right there, the SwampBats in full control of this game, but Knibbie will get some action. And we'll see how he can pitch today. He's 6'6". His outings thus far this year has been nothing short of entertaining for the tall right-hander. You look at him, he's made 5 appearances, 5 2/3 innings pitched, allowed 5 hits, 2 runs, none of them earned. He has not walked a batter, and he's struck out 13.
It's not bad numbers.
No, I would say. I think that's pretty okay. Some would even call it good. I think that's kind of the consensus when it comes to numbers in baseball.
It's a situation where we talked about it a little last half inning. Just want to get some work in.
Right.
Don't go too long being cold. Seeing live hitters is really big for pitching. And if you're Sanford, the last 2 innings have really been what have hurt you throughout this whole year. The big blow-up innings. And it's not always when a team's hitting a ball all over the park. It's trouble with command, some sloppiness, a couple errors mixed in. 8 runs in the 7th and 8th combined. That's not going to win you some games.
First pitch is a ball, and Knibbie, I don't think he's going to be one to take velocity off. There's a slider at 85. We've seen him touch 97 this year. We'll see what he comes out with today. There is that fastball. It's at 94 and just misses down and away.
The last 2 times these teams have met here in the regular season, similar games. Keene blew out Sanford the last game on the NECBL regular season schedule last summer before Mainers got it done in the playoffs.
Foul tip. 94 again from Knibbie with a lot of ride. 2-1. And that's a hitter just, getting sped up now. Dean throws a couple miles an hour slower than Knibbie, and especially going back from Lapine, who throws 20 miles an hour slower. 15, maybe.
And that's just good strategy from the SwampBats coaching staff, because you want to throw a mix of guys that are going to come at you with different stuff, arm angles, velo, and, I mean, he's a guy that really runs it up there.
Oh, yes.
That one at 96.
Yeah, the big imposing right-hander. Listed at 6'6", but I feel like he's more, with cleats on it, I would say 6'7".
And it's a built 6'6", too.
Yeah,
Not a Chris Sale 6'6".
2-2 is low in the zone, and TJ Schuyler was telling me that sometimes he's trying to get the lacing on his mitt correct. Sometimes when guys, especially Todd Kennedy, very good at controlling, but TJ was telling me that he's gonna find himself a 36-inch catcher's mitt for guys that have a lot of speed, but maybe not specialize in the control department. That's Kennedy's first walk of the season. As Connolly will take first, that'll bring up Trey King. Rather, it looks, yep, that is Trey King.
And just a little thing about baseball right here. It's a 12-1 game.
Yep.
And Brian Connolly took the time before heading down to first on that walk to stop and give Trey King kind of the mini scouting report was what he was seeing out of Knibbie. And Connolly's a guy that's been around baseball. His dad's the head coach at Bowdoin at the Division III level in Maine. And just the little things like that. Those are the type of players you want on your team.
Right. Even if it's a blowout like this game, it's still the principle of helping out your team with the information that you've gathered. It's still important. 0-1, the count to Trey King, who has the lone run of this game off a solo shot in the third.
Snuck out. The center kind of shaded towards right center field. Almost saw a heck of a catch from O'Brien. Leaped up and nearly brought it back.
Yeah, I mean, that was crazy. I had this, just wait. I couldn't see out there, but eventually it did fall over. It was right on the edge. That one's hit well, but foul down the left field line at 96. And it's an easy-looking 96. You can see that
it's effortless.
He's throwing it very hard. He's exerting 100%. But it doesn't look like it. It's a smooth motion. It's like, you look at guys, I'm trying to think of some flamethrowers, and you look at Tarek Skubal. He looks like he's throwing 98, 99.
You can see the max effort there.
Right.
This is what will catch the attention of scouts for the next level, too. A guy that looks like he's doing it effortlessly, like he's done it before. He's not grunting on every pitch.
I grunt and I throw 72, so... But I think it helps.
Like the tennis mindset.
Yeah, exactly. Right, the serves, yeah. 2-2. Foul tip. It's good practice for these guys trying to hit against a hard-throwing right-hander like Knibbie. And a guy that the SwampBats really trust when it comes to closing out games. He's made... one save this year and 5 appearances, but comes in, he's a shutdown guy, is called strike 3, 88 miles an hour on a slider. That is right down the heart of the plate. And one away. Brings up Brendan Sensei.
And King knew it too. He just got froze on the slider, and when you can come back with a slider at 88 after the fastball 94 to 96, that's going to play.
Yes, that will play as the old adage goes. Sensei, right-handed hitter against the right-handed pitcher Knibbie as it's fouled off, and now the kids will race after this one. See who's going to get to it first. It's always a fun mad dash to watch them all go after the free souvenir. I forget what the promotion is if you bring it back to the concession stands. I've not seen one kid bring a ball back. I don't think they should.
Some places have a free cup of ice cream, something along those lines.
Like a free soft drink or something, or I know that's what they have at Indiana. You can get like a $5 voucher, like a soft drink or something, but I've never seen anybody bring a ball back. I know I wouldn't.
The Vineyard used to have a promotion like that. If you got a foul ball and brought it back, then you get the ice cream. And sometimes when you're down in the bullpen, you find a kid, if you have a couple balls in your bag, you give them the one that's not a gamer to bring back, and then you give them a gamer as a reward if they go. Bring the ball back, get you an ice cream in the bullpen.
That's nice. Slider, strike 2. With Trey King, or rather, excuse me, Brian Connolly leading off of first. It's been an effective day all around for Keene. 1 run on 6 hits thus far for the Mainers, and there's strike 3. Back pick down to first. Pulls Tupo off, but there's a swinging strikeout, second in a row, and that brings up Blake Schaff as the last hope for the Sanford Mainers.
Really impressed with Knibbie right now.
Yep.
Especially when you go from Ben Dean to Todd Knibbie, got to be pretty happy if you're Sean McKenna.
To even have both of those arms on the same team is fun, I think, for a coaching staff.
That's a good feeling as a coach and a GM, too, knowing you nailed it when you were going out to get players for this summer.
Off speed, a changeup. Catches that low and outside corner for a strike. Nothing one. Here we go again. And that one's in the dirt, goes back to the well with the slider. And with Knibbie, it's one of those where, like you mentioned, it's an outing to keep him warm. So, they may need to use him early next week if a game is close. 1-1. High fly ball, foul territory left side. Romano under it, and he makes the play to end the game. A dominant victory for the Keene SwampBats as they move to 16-4 on the year. Sanford falls to 6-11, but an all-round excellent performance from the SwampBats as they pick up a big win at home tonight.
That's just a good baseball game from a good team, and what jumps out about being a good baseball team is taking advantage of other teams' mistakes and when they're down. You put up 3 in the 7th, 5 in the 8th, took some advantage of walks, followed it up with a home run. Keene's red hot right now. The NECBL has to watch out for the SwampBats.
Bats moved to 16-4. Now they've won 2 in a row. SwampBats, or rather the Mainers, win streak stops at 2. We'll be back to break down that dominant win for the SwampBats as they extend their lead on the North Division in just a little bit. We'll also hear from Ryan Fitzpatrick for the out-of-town scoreboard update when we come back on the other side of this short break. Bats win 12-1. They score 12 runs on 11 hits. They commit 1 error. Sanford held to 1 run on 6 hits with no errors, and all around just really solid win. Seems like the mojo is back after the win streak was lost. They went, game for game for a little while, but this is a dominant win against a really solid Sanford team.
It's a good win for Keene, but a worse loss for Sanford, put it that way. You just came off of 2 straight, one of your best games of the summer. Came out on the right end of a pitcher's stool, got it done in extras, 4-1 at Bristol, and then coming in against a team you had success with last year. A couple of returners on both sides. Keene's hot, and it was a no contest almost. The game was lost in that 7th inning, and the 1 run you had was on a solo shot that at a lot of other parks probably wouldn't have left the yard. The offense just went back to their problem at the beginning of the year, a lot of strikeouts, just a really defeating and deflating loss for Sanford.
Yeah, total strikeout numbers on the day as I tally them up. It looks like Sanford struck out, I want to say, my math is failing me here, that's 17 times. on the day. So the K's were filling up the score sheet. As we're going to send it down to Ryan Fitzpatrick for an update on the out-of-town scores here in the NECBL. Ryan?
Ready to tell them to go.
Heading over to the top of the 8th in Vermont, the Mountaineers trail the Mystic Sooners 16-7. The Valley Blue Sox defeated the Martha's Vineyard Sharks 6-2. Over to Danbury in Connecticut, the Westerners defeated the Newport Gulls 12-7. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Ryan. And, well, that's all we've got here from Alumni Field. The fans go home happy on a beautiful night at the ballpark. All 3,240 of them. There's a look at the schedule. We are 2 games away from finishing up the first month of the year. And what do you know? There's still a whole nother 20 or 22 baseball games left to be played. The NECBL will continue to deliver in July and August. And then that postseason chase, that chase for the Fay Vincent Senior Cup, will commence on August 1st. But the SwampBats win in this one 12-1, a really solid performance, and a solid performance from our crew as well. For our producer, Mike Kelleher, our lead camera operator, Ryan Goodwin, all of our other awesome camera operators who do such a great job, our sideline reporter, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and of course, for my good friend and broadcast partner, Jackson Walsh. I'm Andrew Hillsman saying so long from Alumni Field. Bats win, and they move to 16-4 in 2025. So long. Thank you for watching this presentation of ESPN. Copyright the New England Collegiate Baseball League. Good night, everybody.